Sessions resume. Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, we are in receipt of the Bicameral Conference Committee report on the disagreeing provisions of House Bill number 6312 and Senate Bill number 1086, creating and establishing the National Academy of Sports, Mr. Speaker. In accordance with our rules, I move that we ratify the said Bicameral Conference Committee report. I so move, Mr. Speaker.
Any objection? The chair is none. The Bicameral Conference Committee report on the disagreeing provisions of House Bill 6312 and Senate Bill 1086 is ratified. Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, I move we recognize the Senior Deputy Minority Floor Leader, Dr. Congresswoman Janet Garin, to avail of her question of privilege, Mr. Speaker.
May I know from the representative of Iloilo, Congresswoman Janet Garin, what is the nature of your personal and collective privilege?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, a few weeks ago, I started embarking on helping the private sector, together with donations from members of Congress, in putting up COVID laboratory testing centers. And in so doing, Mr. Speaker, distinguished colleagues, I found out some nuances that were actually hindering our testing centers. And in line with this, a certain supplier has been maligning me, not only among the donors, but also among some people. With this,
You may proceed.
thank you very much, Mr. Chair, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues, it has been around 10 weeks since we understood the deeper meaning of quarantine. And just last week, I presented before all of you our plan to put forward the Crushing COVID Act. This pandemic has highlighted many critical points, among them that inequality is a greater illness in times of concern, that government can only do so much absent the help of the private sector. There are people out of fear for their own family's safety and welfare will do their utmost if only to survive. Sa pandemic na ito, Mr. Speaker, distinguished colleagues, nakita po natin naging talamak ang fake news ukol sa paano dapat labanan ang virus. Marahil dala ito ng pagkalito at takot na nararamdaman ng marami. Nakita din nating sabik na sabik ang ating mga kababayan makabalik sa dati, sa old normal. Kaya nung magbukas panandalian ng isang kilalang coffee shop, o kaya nung ninais ng ating mga kababayan na bumili ng cake noong Mother's Day, o kaya nitong weekend lang na nagumpisa ang operasyon ng iilang mga mall, ganoon na lang ang pagpila at pananabik ng mga tao. Ang lahat ng ito nakikita datin dahil nababalita. Pero ano po ba ang hindi nababalita? Yung greediness ng iilan na marahil punot dulo kaya gaano man kalakas ang panawagan ng madla para sa malawakan or expanded PCR swab testing ay tila yata hindi matuloy-tuloy ito. More than 2.5 months and 110 million Filipinos have been asking, if I were not a VIP, if I were not someone with special access to government resources, if I don't have the money, how will I get tested? And if I were to get tested, how does the test happen? Where does it happen? How much and how long shall we have to wait? How do we carry with our lives? While waiting for news from the Department of Health regarding the much-needed testing centers, mistrust started to crawl in. One could say even discrimination grew. People who were not tested were presumed to be infected, even if they were just waiting for their results. Not knowing where the enemy is indeed brings a lot of uncertainties and cultivates an atmosphere of confusion. Naalala ko po, Mr. Speaker, nung sinabi po ng ating butihing Deputy Minority Leader when Congressman Kit Belmonte said, "Nako, ang hirap-hirap na nagpapatest sa Quezon City. Dahil nagpapatest pa lang sila, tila pinipresume ng positibo at nagkakaroon ng diskriminasyon dahil sa tagal ng resulta. Again, so many news, both real and fake. So many expectations, so much anxiety, and in the midst of all of this, there were those who found the opportunity to peddle their lies and their political agenda. Isarara po natin ang ating bansa. Sumadsad ang ekonomiya, ilang buwan na ang lumipas pero ang na-testing wala pa 1% ng Metro Manila. Bilang dating kalihim ng kalusugan at bilang ngayon nga kasama niyo dito sa kongresista, at ang pinaka-importante po bilang isang nanay at may bahay, di po ba naiiba ang takot ko sa karaniwang Pilipino? Kung ano man ang takot nararamdaman nyo, ganun rin po ang nararamdaman ko. I remember when Congressman Mikey Arroyo was very much concerned about the people in his district getting infected. It was a daily routine for him to pray that testing centers will be increased. Dahil nakikita niyang marami ang nawawalan ng trabaho, marami ang nangangamba, marami ang hindi alam kung ano ang gagawin. Kaya ganun na lang din ang pagsisikap natin makipag-unayan sa mga nasa katungkulan at itulak ang mga solusyong maaaring pakinabangan ng mas nakararami kesa ng iilan lang. Pero ang sagot sa atin madalas, na parang sa di mapalawanag na sa relasyon, ang palagi pong sagot, it's complicated. Hindi raw madali. Kesyo ganito, kesyo ganoon, kesyo ang hirap-hirap. Well, there is some truth to this. There appears to be a deeper reason to everything as I have come to learn. While everybody has been busy looking at the daily count of COVID cases both here and abroad, ang lingid po sa ating kaalaman ay may iilang walang konsensyang hinaharang ang access natin sa mga testing equipments at testing kits sa bansa natin. Allegedly, there is a couple in the Philippines barring the importation of much-needed COVID testing automated machines, otherwise called automated extractor machines. Paano po ba ito nangyayari, Mr. Speaker? Nagulat po ako dahil nung gumagalaw ang pribadong sektor, tila hindi makapasok sa Pilipinas yung order natin. At ilang beses na-postpone. Only to find out that not only this company but almost all companies selling testing kits, ibibigay lang sa iyo ang makina nila kung ikaw ay bibili ng testing kit. At ang pagkakasabi sa mga donors at sa mga negosyante ng kumpanyang ito, ang dami raw pinadala sa mag-asawang ito. They were allegedly estimating they facilitated the entry of 30 Notch automated extractor machines and 40 MA6000 into the Philippines. Lingid po sa ating kaalaman, it is the company's policy that testing equipment are not to be sold for profit. It is being made available to facilitate testing. Kung ang isang negosyante po ay yung hoard o itatago yung mga kagamitan para sa testing at ibebenta ng pagkamahal-mahal sa ating mga donors, hindi po ba? Is this not an injustice to the Filipino people? Kaya naman pala, nung yung mga donors, paulit-ulit na nakikipag-ugnayan sa iba't ibang mga kumpanya, palaging may humaharang. At ang palaging reason, exclusive distributor po kami. Bansagan po natin ang mga halang-ang kaluluwa na ito bilang VE. Gawang very enterprising ang mag-asawang ito. Pati buhay ng ating mga kababayan, ginawang negosyo. Matapang pang nilapitan ng mag-asawang VE ang mga maaaring tumulong para mapasakamay nila ang exclusive distributorship. Dahil sa ginawa nila, na-delay ang pagpasok ng ating mga kinakailangang equipment at machines noong May 11 para magamit sa laylayan at bayan-bayan. Napaikot din nila ang ilang mga donors sa pag-aakalang parating na yung mga kagamitan at tila meron silang patuloy na pakikipag-ugnayan sa factory at mga scientists at eksperto na gumagawa ng testing kits. Yun naman pala. Meron na silang warning 1.5 months ago. They were warned not to hoard equipments. They were warned to use the equipments for testing. They were warned not to overprice. They were warned not to deprive our country of the much-needed PCR or swab testing para po sa ating COVID. Ang apela ko sa ating mahal na Pangulo, Tatay Digong, President Rodrigo Duterte, pakitingnan po ang anomalyang ito sa importation ng automated extractor machines at pakipitik naman po yung ating pong very enterprising couple para matauhan kahit bahagya man lamang. Sa ating Senate Health Chair, Senator Bongo, pakiusap ko po, silipin po ninyo ang anomalyang ito. Ayoko na sana pong tumayo sa dami ng problema at kailangan natin gawin, subalit kung walang tatayo, wala po akong oportunidad para magsalita. Noong mga nakaraang araw, halos kulang na po ako sa tulog sa pag-aasikaso na magkaroon ng mabilisan na swab testing centers, dala nga ng kontribusyon ng ating mga negosyante, kaakibat ang Philippine Center for Entrepreneurship under Secretary Joey Concepcion o yung Go Negosyo Program. Ang nakakalungkot, imbis na magtulungan, pilit na sinisiraan po ako at yung mga tumutulong sa programa na ito dahil ang mag-asawang si VE ay pilit na inilalayo ang bansa natin sa mga machines at mga sa testing equipments and kits. Ako na po ang magdadiagnose, Mr. Speaker, distinguished colleagues. Hindi po COVID, kundi COVID ang sakit ni na VE. COVID as in corruption in a pandemic is a disaster. Ang kinokopid nila di lang po pera, kundi buhay ng pangkaraniwang Pilipino. Ang babala po natin at sa mga kakumplot nila, huwag po nilang subukan ang pamahalaan. Huwag niyo pong isiping pwede niyong bilugin ang ulo ng Pilipino. Huwag niyong gamiting oportunidad ang COVID para pagsamantalahan ang kababayan at kapwa-tao natin. Because there were a lot of uncertainties, survival became the mode for many of us. Almost everybody was looking for ways to be tested. Ramdam ko ang kaba ng mga naghihintay ng resulta. Kaya naman po, gumalaw ang pribadong sektor. I respect the opinion of our scientific minds. Many were against rapid test kits, citing false negative results. Ako nga po, yan po ang naging katayuan ko. Sa ating mga kagalang-galang na kongresista, Mr. Speaker, simula po noong Marso, ang dami nang nagtetest sa akin ukol sa COVID, rapid test kits. At patuloy ko pong sinasabi that we should be careful because the gold standard is the PCR swab test. Kaya lang, hindi mo mapigilan ang kaba ng tao kasi kahit paulit-ulit na sasabihin natin na PCR or swab test ang gold standard, hindi naman siya available dahil wala naman pong gumagalaw. And again, there was no clear-cut direction of where we were going with regards to the PCR swab test. This is very important, Mr. Speaker, because while other countries were testing at $30 to $40, we were confused as to how much is the actual cost. Can I have the slide, please? Ito po ang testing natin at ang ating PhilHealth rates. Tingnan po natin ang ating PhilHealth rates at kakikita po natin na nagkakanya-kanyang opinyon. Nag-aaway-away na yung ating mga doktor. Nag-aaway-away na yung mga tao natin sa gobyerno. At dahil dito ang pinag-aawayan, ano po ba ang dapat gamitin? Rapid test po ba or COVID PCR swab tests? May kanya-kanya po silang strengths, meron din sila kanyang-kanyang weaknesses, pero ang punot dulo ng pinanggagalingan ng lahat ng ito ay dahil wala tayong PCR COVID testing centers enough to make it available and most importantly, affordable to our people. Kaya nagulat po ako, Mr. Speaker, distinguished colleagues, paulit-ulit na sinasabi ng iilang opisyal, testing is not cost-effective. Testing is not needed. Tila salungat ito sa paulit-ulit na sinasabi ng World Health Organization at tila salungat ito sa unang sinabi ng DOH at tila salungat ito sa ginagawa ng lahat ng bansa sa buong mundo. Are we exempted? No. It is just because we are finding reasons so that our people will not be tested. It is just because we do not accept the fact that we lack testing centers. Mr. Speaker, distinguished colleagues, COVID-19 is a challenge of how the world reacts in a time of pandemic. It is also a challenge to the way we should situate ourselves in society. That all of us could be carriers, and that all we could inflict sickness on others. As such, it reorients us to think how we should put others ahead of our own, and how we could support our government to meet this great challenge. COVID is also a test and challenge to our own government and the kind of leadership we have in the health sector. COVID is a test case of how we will unite and react as one so that we could truly say we could heal as one. Sa ilang pong meeting at pagpupulong, makailang ulit po natin ginawang suggestion na magkaroon ng price ceiling sa commodities at gumawa ng paraan para magkaroon ng sapat na testing kits. Ang madalas po na tugon sa atin, tungo o kaya sumulat po kayo at yung po titingnan namin. Mr. Speaker, distinguished colleagues, hindi po totoo na may shortage ng test kits dahil nagtanong-tanong kami. Marami naman po pala. Meron po tayong chief implementer, si Secretary Carlito Galvez, at yung ating LABZAR, si Secretary Vince Dizon. Nagpapasalamat po tayo sa dedikasyon at sipag nila. Sila ang tumanggap ng tungkulin na napakabigat at napakalayo sa hawak nilang pwesto sa pamahalaan. Nararapat lang po na suportahan sila ng todo-todo para tuluyan nating maibalik sa maayos ang ating bansa at makabalik na rin sila sa dapat nilang pagtuunan, ang peace process at ang flagship projects ng ating gobyerno. Pero ang tanong, paano naman makakagalaw ang ating mga implementers kung tila yata may laging humaharang sa mga dapat asikasuhin at gawin ng mabilisan? Ang private sector, ganado at handang tumulong, pero tila yata nahihirapan. In fact, just today, and in a few hours, in 2 hours, the C-130, thanks to the courtesy of Secretary Lorenzana, Secretary Galvez, and Secretary Locsin, will be arriving carrying the donation of a few congressmen and people in the private sector that will be enough to equip 12 laboratories. Ang tanong, bakit po ba ang simpleng bagay ay pilit na kinukumplika? At bakit po ba patuloy na hindi sinusuportahan ng ating mga pampublikong ospital? At bakit po ba sa PhilHealth may napakamahal tayong COVID testing packages? Ito po, makikita natin ngayon. 8,150 kung ikaw ang bibili ng kit at ikaw ang gagawa ng testing. 5,450 naman kung yung test kits ay donated. 2,710 naman kung iyong laboratorio ay pinagawa at donated ng iba at wala kang gastusin pati sa test kits. Tanong, sino po, Mr. Speaker, distinguished colleagues, ang gumawa ng ganitong package? Natutuwa po tayo na kumilos ang PhilHealth, pero hindi po nakakatuwa na gumawa sila ng package na masyadong mahal. Dahil ang pera po ng PhilHealth ay pera ng sambayanang Pilipino na miyembro ng PhilHealth. Kung gagawin mong napakamahal ang COVID testing, hindi po ba, ito ay magiging batayan ng lahat na gustong kumita sa panahon ng pandemya? At hindi po ba pwede ito maging dagok na siyang ikamatay ng PhilHealth? Sino po ang gumawa nito? Paano po ito ginawa? At sino ba ang talagang...
Deputy Minority Leader, may I request the Majority Leader for an extension of his time for question of privilege.
Mr. Speaker, I move that we extend the privilege hour by 10 minutes to the Honorable Janet Garin.
Any objection? The chair is none. Motion is approved. You may proceed.
Maraming salamat po, kagalang-galang na Speaker. Maraming salamat po sa ating Majority Leader. Alam ko pong tila ginagamitan na naman ng kung ano-anong medical terminologies ang testing packages sa PhilHealth para hindi mahalata at maikuble sa presidente ng PhilHealth ang katotohanan. Tila yata may mafia o sindikato na siyang cancer sa ating PhilHealth. Hindi po natin pwedeng ubusin ang pondo ng PhilHealth dahil marami pa pong sakit ang kaya nitong tugunan. Mr. Speaker, distinguished colleagues, sa panahon ng COVID, kung ikaw ay magdialysis, kailangan ang PPE. Kung ikaw ay magpapa-opera, kailangan ang PPE. Naging mas mahal ang gastusin ng kalusugan dahil sa COVID. At dapat mas maging mahal ang coverage ng PhilHealth sa mga sakit na ito. Pero tila, nakakapagtaka na sa testing pa lamang, dito ipinapaubos at binubuhos ang pondo ng PhilHealth. Pangalawa, bakit po ba tayo takot sa expanded swab testing? Gawang meron tayong maaaring matap na health workers at kawang gawing mura ang testing. Ang siste nga po, inuunahan natin agad ng napakamahal na PhilHealth rates. At ginagawa natin itong baseline para sundin ng lahat. Hindi po ba tayo nagtataka? Why is it that only in the Philippines we have probably the most expensive COVID testing? Sa China, sa pagkakaalam ko, ang presyo ng pagpapatest ay hindi pwede lumagpas sa $20. Of course, may subsidy ang gobyerno doon. Ang presyo naman ng Singapore ay hindi lumalampas sa $40. Ganun rin po sa ibang bansa. Sa atin, andyan po ang sagot ng PhilHealth. Ang sabi naman ng iba, wala po kasing testing kits, may shortage, kaya wag na lang tayong mag-test. Ang katotohanan, madami pong testing kits ang available. Wala pong sinasabing shortage dahil napakadami ng pwedeng pagpilian. Pwera na lang kung may ipipilit ka na hindi naman mahagilap dahil ginagawa sa Amerika kung saan napakalaki ng demand. Hindi po ba nakakapagtaka, Mr. Speaker, distinguished colleagues, na minsan tila hiwa-hiwalay ang pagbebenta nito? In testing, you have 12 components, including the PPE and the mask and the goggles. Bakit po ba natin dinidisaggregate at binibenta ng tingi-tingi? At kapag dumating sa ating laboratory testing centers, hirap na hirap ang Zamboanga dahil kulang-kulang. Ang lung center hindi makapag-push through ng operation dahil kulang-kulang. Hindi lang po yun. Ganun na rin po ang iba nating mga testing centers. Question ko nga po, bakit hindi gumagawa ng paraan ang liderato ng kagawaran ng kalusugan para direktang bumili sa mga manufacturer para makuha ang testing kit sa bagsak na presyo at maiwasan ang pagnenegosyo ng mga tuso? Dagdag pa natin ang mga bangayan at awayan para sa exclusivity ng pagbebenta. Kapag pilit po na idaan sa mga ahente o supplier, mas nagkakaroon ng pagkakataon na lumihis sa nararapat na presyo. Madami naman pong matitino, pero madami din ang garapal at tuwang-tuwa pa sa pandemic dahil ito ay pagkakataong kumita ng pera sa gitna ng pasakit ng ating mga kababayan. Pandemic ngayon. At siguro napapanahong DOH na mismo ang bumili ng kits na kailangan ng ating mga kababayan or kaya DBM or anong ahensya ng gobyerno, pero hindi po sa mga middleman, kundi direkta sa factory. Mr. Speaker, I was Secretary of Health for 1 year. Ang ginawa po ng kagawaran ng kalusugan noong unang panahon, bakuna, gamot, kung anuman ang mga kailangan, direktang bumibili sa manufacturing company para sa economies of scale at sa mababang presyo. Hindi po ito binibenta, pero yung ating po mga supplier ay kumikita sa paraan ng pagbebenta sa private hospitals at sa local government units. Sa mga equipments naman, syempre kailangan mong dumaan sa local na distributor dahil kailangan ang maintenance provider. Pero sa mga testing kits, kayang-kaya po na dumiretso sa mga kumpanyang gumagawa nito kasi yan po ang ginagawa ng ating mga bansa, our neighboring countries. Bakit po ba tila iba kung ang sa Pilipinas? Kaya nga po, habang gumagalaw ang iba't ibang ahensya ng Pilipinas, habang walang tulog na nagpupursige ang ating ibang mga opisina, kailangan po ang liderato ng Department of Health ay tingnan ang nangyayari at aksyonan kaagad. How much is COVID testing, swab, PCR testing in other countries? Bakit sa atin mahal? sa kanila $30 or $40, yan lang po. Kung walang flights, meron naman pong telepono at internet na pwedeng gamitin para tanungin ang mga counterpart offices ng DOH sa ibang bansa. Napakadaling tumawag sa ibang Secretary of Health sa ibang mga bansa para malaman natin kung anong ginagawa nila. Ang akin lang po, we cannot be a country if we cannot balance health and the economy. Hindi po pwedeng isantabi ang usapin ng kalusugan at hindi rin naman pwedeng i-lockdown ang ekonomiya. Katumbas nito ay gutom para sa karaniwang Pilipino. Ito ang hinanakit nila. Kamakailan lang, Mr. Speaker, distinguished colleagues, napaka-agresibo ng probinsya ng Cavite. Napakagaling nung pagdala ni Governor Remulla na minarapat nilang itest yung mga tao. Pero kung ang Cavite lang ang gagalaw at yung mga government hospitals ng DOH hindi natin i-equip ng kakayanan na mag-test at bigyan ng sapat na supply ng testing kit, of course, they will be overwhelmed because we are interrelated. We cannot just allow our LGUs to act independently. We should act as one country. Ano naman po ang matinding pakiusap ng ating mga frontliners na mga doktor, nurse at medical professionals? Dagdag na gamit at sana naman ay tumalima ang madla na manatili sa bahay. Ano po ba ang pakiusap ng ating mga state health workers? Suporta at sana magkaroon ng testing centers. Habang ang buhay nila ay delikado sa araw-araw na pag-aasikaso ng mga pasyente, not only COVID patients, because frontliners handling COVID patients are well protected. But frontliners handling non-COVID patients are more at risk dahil hindi mo makita at akala mo yung pasyente mo walang COVID. But are they being tested? No. Again, because I don't know why tila tinutulak na magpa-test tayo sa mga pribadong sektor. We lack testing centers because nobody ever dared to lift a finger and automate government testing centers. Testigo po ako nung nagbigay ng direktiba si Pangulong Duterte sa ating kalihim ng kalusugan at sabihin niyang tulungan ang mga laboratorio. If you need to automate, automate it. Pero tila hanggang ngayon, ibinibigay natin ito sa pribadong sektor. Mabuti na lang po at sumaklolo sila. Mabuti na lang po na sa liderato ni Speaker Alan Cayetano at ng ating majority leader, nagkaroon ng kontribusyon ng mga sweldo ng ating mga kongresista. Pero hindi po ba ito? Meron namang sapat na pondo ang ating kalusugan. Walang reagents ang pangkaraniwang hinanakit ng ating mga laboratory specialists. Parang inuutusan mo silang magpakain ng libo-libong tao pero hindi mo binibigyan ng pambili ng gasol. Charge to the private sector pa more, ika nga. At ito ang napakabigat sa bulsa ng ating kababayan. This is the sad state of our healthcare situation. It is severely underfunded and taken advantage of, where testing kits and testing centers should be the core of our response. What makes us more sad is that we have DOH officials, hindi po lahat, marami po dyan ang mga matitino, who are keeping a blind eye to what is happening. The leadership of the department and that of the entire country's health sector has a golden opportunity to boost the morale of our people, motivate them, and encourage them to work and deliver. It begins with eliminating the obstacles to honest, to goodness, medical practice, and science-based research. It begins by listening to those without vested interests and asking them to speak more based on their own findings, observations, and experience. It encompasses listening to the people on the ground. Our local government executives who are in the forefront are trying to sustain a bold face. Nag-aaway-away na yung mga doktor. Nagkakagulo na yung iba. Isa lang po ang sagot nito. DOH should own up that we need more testing centers. DOH should own up that they became late. And DOH should accept that we are going to move forward. Mr. Speaker, if I can be given 5 more minutes and I'm going to wrap up.
Majority Leader?
Yes.
Mr. Speaker, I move that the privileged hour be extended for another 5 minutes to allow our gentle lady to wrap up her privileged speech.
5 minutes extension. Granted.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Thank you, distinguished colleague. Tayo po sa Kongreso, ano po ba ang pwede natin gawin? Nagawa na nating ilaan ang ating sahod para sa Mayo para makatulong sa gobyerno. It is not too late for us to push for test, test, test. Aminado naman po tayo, naging mabagal ang pagtulak natin sa expanded swab testing, pero hindi nito ibig sabihin ay hindi na natin pwedeng gawin. Sa katunayan po, higit na kailangan natin ang tests para matukoy kung saan nakatago, aling lugar ang madami at magkaroon ng kumpiyansa ang ating kababayan habang bumabalik sila sa trabaho. Hindi po madali ito because expanded testing should have been done when we were in a lockdown, where it was easy to trace people, where tracing people will not be difficult kasi alam mo na limited lang ang pinuntahan ng tao. Sa ngayon, nagbubukas na po tayo. Sinayang natin ang pagkakataon kung saan tulong-tulong nagsakripisyo ang sambayan ng Pilipino, kasama ang Pangulo, kasama ang mga negosyante. Kaya kung hindi pa gagalaw ang kalihim ng kalusugan, tila meron itong mensahe. I know that he is demoralized. I know that he feels bad. I don't want to speak against the leadership of the department, but I have to. Because my friendship with the Secretary ends when my responsibility as a doctor, a legislator, and a mother has to start. Mahihirit dyan, sigurado po. Mahal kasi. Hindi raw cost-efficient ang swab test. Naku naman. Tila itinutulak ang usapan sa rapid test kits. Tila sinasabing, ito kasing iba, puro rapid test, dapat PCR tayo. Pero pag PCR naman, sasabihin mo namang mahal. Bakit po ba natin paulit-ulit na dinadala ang sa usapan whether it is PCR swab test or rapid test kits? That is not an issue. PCR swab test is the gold standard. Rapid tests can complement. But if you are not making testing available, then where will our people go? It's a method of survival. Kapit sa patalim. Because you are not only dealing with COVID, you are dealing with anxiety, the fear of people going back to work na pwede nilang ikamatay sa nervyos. Mas mahal kung muling sasadsad ang ekonomiya natin, mas mahal kung magkakaroon tayo ng another wave of infections, at mas mahal kung walang katumbas ang halaga ng bawat buhay na mawawala dahil sa COVID. Mr. Speaker, distinguished colleagues, allow me to put forward the following suggestions. I've been saying this time and again, even during the first cluster meeting that we had, pero tila walang napapapuntahan. Kaya nga po ako'y nananawagan sa lahat ng ating kasamahan. These are the solutions I humbly submit. Maximize the help of the private sector by laying down the map towards strategically located complementary testing centers. This will guide the donations of our congressmen. The IATF and the government should welcome all the help and allow recommendations and suggestions that would redound to the benefit of our country. Tama na po ang pagalingan. Tama na po ang kanya-kanyang epal. Tama na po ang pamumulitika. Tulong-tulong tayo dahil kailangan natin to. Purchase the kits directly from the manufacturers. Kung gagawin po natin ito, ang government po ang direktang bibili sa mga kumpanya. Lahat po, from the test kits to the reagents to the consumables, lahat po yan, hindi po lalampas sa 800 pesos to 900 pesos. Kaya ko pong patunayan yan. PhilHealth will now cover the processing fee of 500 pesos for government hospitals and 700 pesos for private hospitals. Ibig sabihin, bibili ng bulto ang bansa na Pilipinas. Ilalagay ito sa mga testing centers ng pribado at pampublikong ospital. Babayaran ng PhilHealth ng admin cost na 500 ang gobyernong ospital, 700 ang private hospitals. At huwag po nating kalimutan, ilinaan nila ang kanilang buhay. Ang kanilang pamilya, hindi nila nagkakasama araw-araw. Wala na po silang time in, time out. Wala na pong tulog. I am referring to our laboratory specialists, our pathologists, workers in the COVID testing centers na hindi lang na binibigyan ng incomplete testing paraphernalias. Minsan kulang pa at walang PPE. maglaan po tayo ng 100 pesos per test conducted. It can be paid by PAGCOR or any other government agency para naman po magkaroon naman sila ng kanilang true compensation. In other words, Mr. Speaker, next slide please. Ang maging suma total po ng ating swab PCR COVID testing ay 1,400 to 1,700 pesos. Pwedeng dagdagan ng miscellaneous cost na 300. Sabihin na natin, though I don't know if that is still needed. Hindi po ako naniniwalang imposible ito, and we are going to prove in the next days that this can be done. At nananawagan po ako sa aking mga kasamahan sa Kongreso at ng ating mga supporters na local government chief executives. Kung aayawan pa ito ng ating kalihim ng kalusugan, if again there will be obstacles to making testing not only available, most importantly, affordable. Kasi kung sasabihin nating napakamahal, tila sinasabi natin kapag ikay mayaman, pwede kang mag-survive ng COVID. Kapag ikaw ay mahirap, mamamatay ka na lang, hindi mo pa alam kung COVID o hindi. Health equity has been the mantra of President Duterte since day one that he assumed office. Huwag po natin itong kalimutan at alam ko po sa pagkakakilala ko sa Pangulo, hindi niya ito palalambasin. Malaking dagok ito kung magkakataon. Kung ang ginagawa lang natin isolate, isolate, isolate. And if we continue to infect, and infect, while we continuously avoid to test, and test, there will be higher chances of the virus mutating again. And then this virus mutate at its core, vaccines being tested might have to start at step 1, and all our efforts might be in vain. Bakit nga po ba? For the past months and weeks, I have been very tired of convincing people that our testing in the Philippines is the most expensive in the world. Balik po ako. Bakit pahirapan? Bakit manual? Bakit hindi natin tulungan ang mga pampublikong ospital? Why are we insisting and saying that it is expensive where in fact it is cheap? Truth is, we should have health equity. We should not buy expensive testing kits because we can buy it directly from the source. If kits will be prepositioned in government and private facilities, bibilis po ang testing. Hindi tayo maghintay ng matagal. Makakauwi po sa kanilang mga bahay ang ating OFWs. Sa quarantine center, yung ating mga positibo na hindi natetest, patuloy na nakakapanghawa sa iba. Bakit nga ba? Ang iba naming kababayan sa probinsya ng Iloilo, dumating dito, walang sintomas, nasa quarantine center, nasa Cebu. Umuwi after 1 month. Pag-test sa Iloilo, positibo sa PCR swab test, meaning it is an active infection. Kung sinasabi natin hindi nakakapanghawa ang walang sintomas, nagsisinungaling po tayo. Tinatakpan lang natin ang ating failure to test our people. Kawawa naman yung ating mga OFWs. We are putting them in a petri dish where they get infected from each other. Umuwi silang walang COVID, nagtatagal sila doon, hihintayin nating maglabas ng sintomas, ayaw nating i-test. By the moment they get tested, they are already positive. Nitong nakaraang mga linggo, narinig natin ang 3 T's. Test, trace, treat. Panindigan ko ito para na rin sa tamang hakbang. Dagdagan po natin ito ng another T, which stands for trust. Trust your health experts, trust your state scientists and doctors, trust your career officials of the wealth of experience and knowledge to address these challenges. Trust the private sector to help and make it possible for them to do so. Ultimately, trust that the Filipino will listen and follow, but we ourselves, we who are in power and authority, should be the first to comply and serve as examples.
Please wrap
We
up.
are far from curing this virus. Mr. Speaker, I thank you for the opportunity to speak anew. I will strive that this is the last time I will speak of COVID in the halls of Congress, hoping that the good Secretary of Health will listen. Mr. President, Pangulong Duterte, we call on you as our tatay to discipline your children. I recall that during your meeting, you were very firm to make testing available and affordable. Nabilisan ng Department of Health. Mr. President, only you can handle the situation and provide a solution so we can move forward. Whether we like it or not, we have to survive this pandemic without a virus. And only you can make expanded PCR testing a reality for so many. If, in the coming days, there will still be obstacles to the laboratories that the private donors are putting up, then I will be urging the members of Congress to come forward, have an investigation, because we cannot just be blind, deaf, and mute while our people are faced with an invisible enemy. With your help and support, distinguished colleagues, I am of the belief that we can crush COVID altogether and we could bring back our country right on its track sooner than later. Maraming salamat po. Keep safe, Mr. Speaker. Keep safe, distinguished colleagues.
Maraming salamat, Senior Deputy Minority Leader. Majority Leader?
Mr. Speaker, I move that we refer the speech of the Honorable Janet Garin to the Committee on Rules for its appropriate action.
Any objection? Chair is none. Motion approved. Majority Leader?
Mr. Speaker, I move that we recognize the gentleman from Anak Kalusugan Party List, the Honorable Representative Mike Defensor, for his manifestation. So moved.
The Honorable Representative from Anak Kalusugan, Honorable Mike Defensor, is recognized.
Maraming salamat, Mr. Speaker, and also to our beautiful Majority Floor Leader, the Honorable Bagat Singh of Manila. Mr. Speaker, mabilis lang po ng manifestation. Sa kadahilanan po nitong April 15, in line with the speech of the Honorable Janet Garin, na ang kanyang speech kanina tungkol po sa swab, sa testing, which I support, and I urge, Mr. Speaker, dito po sa PhilHealth, Mr. Speaker, noong April 15, binago na po nila, previous to April 15, ang sinabi po ng PhilHealth, full coverage pag ikaw ay nagkasakit ng COVID-19. After April 15, Mr. Speaker, nagkaroon na po sila ng case rates. 43,997 for mild pneumonia, 143,000 for moderate pneumonia, 333,000 for severe pneumonia, and 786,000 for those with critical pneumonia. Ito, Mr. Speaker, na case rates na to, noon pa man akin ang nilalabanan dahil ito'y naging source ng corruption sa ilalim ng PhilHealth. Wala po silang COA last year. Pangalawa, Mr. Speaker, ang akin po yung itinutulak dito sa inyo pong suporta, Mr. Speaker, isang buwan na ho magmula nang inimplementa to. Dapat, Mr. Speaker, pag ikaw nagkasakit ng COVID-19, lalo't na't mahirap ka, dapat full coverage ng PhilHealth, Mr. Speaker. Yun po ang aking manifestation, Mr. Speaker, and I hope with the support of the Majority Floor Leader, ang inyo pong suporta, Mr. Speaker, at ang mga kasama natin. Sa kadahilan to, Mr. Speaker, hindi naman natin pondo to. Pondo to ng PhilHealth. And I would like to move, Mr. Speaker, that we direct PhilHealth to immediately review the case rates program that they have for COVID-19. Pag-aralan po nila kaagad at tanggalin na po ang limitasyon pag ikaw ay nagkasakit ng COVID-19. Full support, Mr. Speaker, ng PhilHealth ang ibigay sa ating mga kababayan. Maraming salamat, Mr. Speaker.
Maraming salamat, kagalang-galang Mike Defensor ng Anak Kalusugan. Maraming salamat at sinusuportahan ka namin diyan. Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, the manifestation of the Honorable Mike Defensor is duly noted. And
Mr. Speaker, with the permission of the Majority Floor Leader, kung inyo pong papayagan, Mr. Speaker, dahil ito po'y pagkakataon natin, baka pwede pong yung motion, idirekta na kagad natin ang PhilHealth na reviewin yung kanilang programa sa case rates at bigyan ng kabuang suporta ang lahat may sakit ng COVID-19. Maraming salamat, Mr. Speaker. Again, I reiterate my motion, Mr. Speaker.
Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, on the part of the majority, we hereby manifest and reiterate our support to the motion of the Honorable Defensor, Mr. Speaker.
Any objection? Here's none. The motion approved.
Maraming pong salamat, Mr. Speaker, and to all the members of Congress.
Mr. Speaker, I move that we recognize the gentleman from the 1st District of Agusan del Norte, the Honorable Representative Lawrence Fortun.
Representative from the 1st District of Agusan del Norte, Honorable Lawrence Fortun is recognized.
Maraming salamat, Mr. Speaker. Maraming salamat sa ating Majority Leader. Mr. Speaker, kahapon, ang inaakala nating lahat ay magkakaroon ng third reading at maaprubahan ang House Bill number 6732. Matapos na nating naaprubahan on first and second reading noong karaang linggo ang panukala. Ngunit may biglang pagbabago. Kahapon, ang ginawa natin ay bumalik tayo sa pangalawang pagbasa o second reading ng House Bill 6732. Bagamat, Mr. Speaker, ako'y naniniwala na walang mali sa ginawa ng House of Representatives ng ating tinalakay at inaprubahan on second reading ang House Bill 6732 on the same day. May mga nagsabi na ito ay unconstitutional dahil may requirement na ang reading should be done on separate days. Ako po'y naniniwala na ang first and second reading ay maaring gawin sa parehong araw kung ang isang panukala ay na-refer sa Committee of the Whole. Ang hindi po pwedeng gawin ay ang third reading on the same day. Kasi klarong-klaro po ang requirement ng ating konstitusyon na kailangan meron munang distribution of copies of the bill in its final form 3 days before the passage of the bill. Ano po ang nangyari kahapon? Nagkaroon ng pagkakataon ang marami nating kasamahan mag-interpolate at supposedly magkaroon sana ng pagkakataong magpanukala ng mga amendments sa House Bill 6732. Nung narinig ko po ang mga interpellation at iba't ibang manifestations mula sa ating mga kasamahan, ito po yung mga conclusions na aking nakuha mula sa ating mga kasamahan. Unang-una, lumabas kahapon na napaka-urgent po ang issue ng mga manggagawa ng ABS-CBN na nasa higit 11,000 na nawalan ng trabaho sa gitna ng krisis at pandemya na nangyayari ngayon. 11,000 employees translate to 11,000 families. At para sa average na 5 per family, it translates to 55,000 individuals heavily affected by the displacement of their breadwinners in the middle of an unprecedented crisis confronting not only the country but the whole world. Yun ang una. Pangalawa, lumalabas din sa mga interpellations at manifestations na urgent ang pagbalik ng ABS-CBN sa ere dahil napakahalaga ng papel na ginagampanan nito sa paghahatid ng impormasyon sa ating mga kababayan sa gitna ng pandemyang ito. Doon po sa amin sa Mindanao, marami pong mga barangay, maraming mga munisipyo na hindi abot ng ibang estasyon. ABS-CBN lang ang abot doon sa mga barangay at mga munisipyong ito. Nung nawala ang ABS-CBN, wala po sila ngayong telebisyon. So the impact of ABS-CBN not being on air ay napakalaki sa gitna ng pandemyang ito. Lumabas din po sa mga interpelasyon at manifestations kahapon ang iba't ibang issues naman laban sa ABS-CBN na ito ay may mga violations na ginawa kaya dapat imbestigahan ang mga ito at dapat matalakay hinggil doon sa pagbigay ng prangkisa sa kanila. So from these conclusions, Mr. Speaker, lumalabas na tama po sana talaga ang House Bill 6732. Dahil urgent po ang concern ng mga manggagawa na sila ay bumalik sa trabaho at urgent po ang papel ng himpilang ito sa paghatid ng mahalagang impormasyon sa gitna ng pandemyang ito, tama lang sana sila ay bumalik sa ere immediately to address the plight of 11,000 displaced workers and to address the issue and importance of ABS-CBN's role in disseminating information, especially in this time of crisis. At bakit tama ang 6732? Sige, 5 buwan lang po muna. Kasi nga, lumalabas din sa kahapong interpellations at manifestations na maraming issues na dapat harapin ang ABS-CBN. So, the correct and appropriate direction that the House should have taken was to approve yesterday or today House Bill 6732 and yung mga bills po para sa mas mahabang prangkisa sa Committee on Legislative Franchises ay magpapatuloy sa pagtalakay habang effective naman ang isang bagong batas para sa provisional permit. Sinusuportahan po natin ang ating Speaker sa kanyang direksyon, lalo na nung kanyang tinulak ang House Bill 6732. Bagamat ako personally, Mr. Speaker, ay naniniwala na pag-usapan na kaagad ang 25-year franchise, but in the interim, it was a correct and prudent direction to push and approve House Bill 6732 while we push as well for the longer franchise in the Committee on Legislative Franchises. Mr. Speaker, sabi ng ating Speaker, we should set aside that which divides us. Ang issue po daw ng ABS-CBN ay isang napaka-divisive, highly charged na issue. Tayo po ay hindi nagkakasundo. May mga kasamahan tayong tutol dito, may mga kasamahan tayong tinutulak ang prangkisa, may kasamahan tayong nag-iisip pa kung dapat nga bang bigyan ng panibagong prangkisa ang ABS-CBN. But when we approved House Bill 6732 last week, Mr. Speaker, we were one, not one of us. Nobody, not one member of the House objected to House Bill 6732. Yes, it is true that we should set aside that which divides us. But when we voted on House Bill 6732, nobody objected. Everybody agreed. Even those who were vocal against ABS-CBN's renewal of franchise voted in favor of House Bill 6732. And if we voted voted again today on House Bill 6732, we would not have been divided. And the issue on constitutionality would have been addressed already. Mr. Speaker, sabi ng ating kagalang-galang na Speaker Alan Peter Cayetano, kailangan natin pakinggan ang iba't ibang panig sa isyong ito. Kaya mas mahalaga na may mas malawakang deliberasyon doon sa Committee on Legislative Franchises. Ako po I agree that we should have a more extensive deliberation on this issue in the Committee on Legislative Franchises. Kailangan nating pakinggan ang lahat ng panig. Kaya nga po sana ay pinasa na natin House Bill 6732 para makabalik na sa trabaho ang 11,000 employees na na-displace, bumalik sa ere kahit pansamantala ang ABS-CBN, habang tinatalakay naman natin doon sa komite ang iba't ibang issue laban sa network na ito. Mr. Speaker, kami po sa minorya ay naniniwala na bagamat kanina wala naman talagang motion to revert or to refer the measure back to the Committee on Legislative Franchises because there can be no referral back to the committee. Because in the first place, House Bill 6732 was never ever referred to the Committee on Legislative Franchises. From the beginning, it was considered and treated by the Committee of the Whole. So what happened is that simply our distinguished sponsors abandoned the bill. They simply decided not to pursue it anymore. So there's no more House Bill 6732 to speak of now. And we go back to the committee para doon sa mga earlier franchises bills that have been filed. Yan na po ang nangyari, yan na po ang status ngayon. Wala na po kaming magagawa. But we stood, Mr. Speaker, upang ipahayag na bagamat ito na ang naging desisyon ng mga sponsors at hindi naman kami pwedeng tumutol doon dahil sila naman ang sponsors at ayaw na nilang ituloy ang kanilang panukala, kami pa rin ay naniniwala na sana ay inaprubahan na natin ng House Bill 6732. Ngayong araw na to, para nag-third reading tayo sa Lunes na darating. Maraming salamat, Mr. Speaker. Thank you very much.
Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, I move that the manifestation of Representative Lawrence Fortune be noted. Mr. Speaker, I move
Noted.
to...
Majority Leader, wait. For proper disposition of the manifestation of Honorable Mike Defensor and the manifestation of the Majority Leader earlier, would like to refer that to the Committee on Rules for proper action.
Yes,
Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, I move to refer the manifestations of Representative Mike Defensor and Representative Lawrence Fortune to Rules Committee. Mr.
Those manifestation is referred to Committee on Rules. Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, I now move to recognize from the 2nd District of Caloocan City, Representative Egay Arice for his manifestation.
The representative from the 2nd District of Caloocan City, Honorable Edgar Electronic Rice, Erice, is recognized. Sandali lang po, nakamute kayo, nakamute. Please proceed.
Take the place of Franz Castro.
Mr. Speaker, thank you. Good afternoon. Thank you, Madam Majority Leader, my dear colleagues. We in the Liberal Party is rather unique because there are members of the Liberal Party in the minority and there are also members of the Liberal Party in the majority. However, when it comes to House Bill number 6732, whether in the minority or the majority, supported the HB 6732. Ito po ay sinulong ng liderato ng House of Representatives at kami po ay lubusang sumuporta. Ganun pa man, naunawaan ko po ang I commiserate with the Speaker, how he think about this, how he feels about this issue. I think it's now all water under the bridge. Kaya po sinusuportahan po natin yung aksyon na ito ng liderato ng Kamara. Subalit nakikiusap lang po kami sa Committee on Franchise na siguro po talagang sundin natin yung nasabi ng ating speaker na magkaroon talaga tayo ng masigasig, mag-multitasking tayo ngayong panahon ng pandemyang ito upang marinig ang lahat na dapat na marinig, sumusuporta at tumututol at makagawa kaagad tayo ng aksyon sa lalong madaling panahon. Mahalaga po na mabigyan natin ng katapusan ang issue na ito sapagkat tunay naman po na ang ABS-CBN is not just a media organization. It's already an institution. Yung pong ito po isang tradisyon na. The transmission of our customs was made possible by ABS-CBN, I would say. Matagal na po. It's not just political. I don't care about the commentators. I don't care about the owners. But really, ito po ay parte na ng ating pang-araw-araw na buhay. Sa mga nakaraang panahon po ay nag-ikot ako sa aking distrito, sa bawat lugar, sa aking distrito. At ito mahuling araw. May pong tanong sa akin kailan ba magbubukas ang ABS-CBN? At nahiwatigan ko po sa kanila dahil lalo na sa mga kasulok-sulukan, ang mga programa na pinanood nila malaking bagay para sa kanila, lalo na yung mga senior citizens na halos ito na lang po ang napapaglibingan, lalo na ngayong panahon ng pandemya. They don't care about the politics, they don't care about the issues behind the politics. Pero ang sa tingin po sa kanila, parang ang ABS-CBN hindi naman po pag-aari ng mga Lopez. Ito po yung pag-aari nila. At parang sa araw-araw sila ay nawawalan dahil hindi po nagtutuloy yung mga kanilang nagiging kagawian na nagpapaligaya, nagpapasaya sa kanilang mga buhay. So Mr. Speaker, maraming salamat po at magandang gabi sa inyo lahat.
Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, I move that we refer the manifestation of the Honorable Ega Erice to the Committee on Rules for its appropriate action. So move, Mr. Speaker.
Referred to Committee on Rules. Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, I move that we recognize the Honorable Arlene Brosses of Gabriela Party List for her manifestation. So move, Mr. Speaker.
Representative from Gabriela Party List, Honorable Arlene Brosas, is recognized for her manifestation.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, the Gabriela Women's Party is in favor of the proposed temporary franchise for ABS-CBN, with the fervent hope that the country's largest network will be back on air soon. Pagkilala ito sa karapatan sa pamamahayag na nakasaad sa ating konstitusyon, na hindi dapat sikilin batay lamang sa kapritsyo at tiranikong tendensiya. Pagkilala rin ito sa mahalagang papel ng media na maghatid ng balita sa ating mga kababayan, lalo na sa panahon ng pandemya. We hope that with the passage of this temporary franchise bill, this chamber will seriously internalize its duty and power to independently decide on franchises without unnecessary delay and without any influence and string pulling by the executive branch. We note, however, that this temporary franchise on the House Bill 6372 is timed to expire on October 31, 2020, after which the network's fate will once again hang in the balance. The lease of life being granted to the network and to its 11,000 workforce, pending the actual deliberations of the franchise renewal bill, could have been longer. At the same time, Congress is obliged to tackle the pending ABS-CBN franchise bills before October so as to establish its good faith with this gesture of putting the network back on air. Pero saksi po tayo sa nangyari kanina sa kapulungang ito. Pinaasa na magkakaroon ng provisional temporary franchise na pwede naman na habang dinidinig yung actual 25 years franchise renewal ay magkaroon ng temporary franchise para sa ABS-CBN na ito ay umere. So, Mr. Speaker, we find it unfortunate that the House leadership decided to drop the ABS-CBN Provisional Franchise Bill, which it originally pushed, to usher in a marathon of hearings on the pros and cons of the franchise renewal. What the House did was to suspend the hopes of the 11,000 ABS-CBN workers in mid-air, while the country's largest network will remain off-air. Ang panawagan natin sa Gabriela Women's Party, ibalik ang ere. Ibalik sa ere ang ABS-CBN. Bakit tila iniiwan natin sa ere ang libo-libong manggagawa ng ABS-CBN na apektado rin ng pandemya? Mr. Speaker, my dear colleagues, kailangan nating sapulin ang urgent na mga usapin. Hindi ba't mas urgent na mabigyan ng katiyakan ng 11,000 na manggagawa kahit hanggang Oktubre man lang? Hindi ba't mas urgent na matiyak na meron silang kita, lalo ngayon humaharap tayo sa pandemya? So, Mr. Speaker, ang gusto po sana natin, ang House, wala pong mawawala sa gobyerno at sambayanan sa ngayon kung hahayaan na makabalik sa ere ang ABS-CBN hanggang Oktubre. On the contrary, the House would be doing a disservice to the Filipino people if it will continue to sit on the network's franchise as millions of Filipinos in far-flung areas are deprived of vital news and information amid the pandemic. Yun po ang halaga, Ang halaga ng malayang pamamahayag, ang halaga ng press freedom na ipinaglalaban natin, ang halaga ng sinasabi nga ng The Jerks na kanta, we should rage against the dying of the light. Maraming salamat, Mr. Speaker.
Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, I move to refer the speech of Representative Arlene Brosas to the Rules Committee for its appropriate.
Referred to Committee on Rules.
Mr. Speaker, I move to recognize from the Bayan Muna Party List Representative Carlos Zarate for his manifestation.
Honorable Carlos Zarate from Bayan Muna Party List, recognize.
Maraming salamat po, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, yamang din lang na mukhang naabandona na ng mga sponsors, ang panukalang batas na magbibigay sana ng provisional franchise sa ABS-CBN ay hindi ko na rin ma-cast yung aking yes vote doon sa House Bill number 6732, at ito ay nakakapanlumo dahil inaasahan natin na sa linggong ito sana ay maipasa na ito ng mababang kapulungan at may hatid na ito doon sa Senado para naman maaksyonan ito. At sa kagyat ay bumalik na sana sa ere ang ABS-CBN. Ginoong Speaker, prior to joining Congress, ako po ay isang mamamahayag at isa ring abogado by professions. As such, it is second nature for me to advocate for free speech, freedom of the press, and our people's access to information, especially now during these trying times of COVID-19 pandemic and the crisis na dala nito that affects our country and millions of our people. So napakalaki na magiging papel ng media rito in delivering to the public the current news and information necessary for our survival and in fact for our decision making as legislators and for our leaders to resolve the myriad issues that confront us every day. Kaya naman, gusto kong i-hammer uli na ang ABS-CBN is not just a simple station. Hindi ito usapin ng isang istasyon lang. Ang ABS-CBN undoubtedly is one of the leading broadcast network in our country. Sa napakaraming nitong istasyon sa buong kapuluan. At sa katunayan, nabanggit na rin ito ng aking mga kasamahan, lalong-lalo na nitong nakaraang bagyo, sila lang ang inaasahan ng mga impormasyon ng iba nating mga kababayan dahil yun lang ang nakakaabot at yun lang may istasyon sa kanilang lugar. So, in addition, nabanggit na rin ito ay malibo-libo ang umaasa ng mga manggagawa sa ABS-CBN. 11,000 kung umaasa rito, including yung mga dependents, probably ay marami pa sa kanyang continued existence. So, at nabanggit na rin kanina doon sa Senado na kung tuloy-tuloy na hindi babalik sa ere ang ABS-CBN, malamang sa darating na Agosto ay magtatanggal na sila ng mga empleyado at sasama na rin ito sa libo-libo o milyon-milyon nating mga mamamayan na walang trabaho dulot nitong nangyayaring krisis ngayon. Kaya Ginoong Speaker, noong nakaraang Enero, ang tinatawang ito kasama ang aking mga kasamahan sa Makabayan Black sa katotohanan ay nakain din kami ng isang panukalang batas para bigyan ng panibagong prangkisa ang ABS-CBN. At since then ay ating panawagan na sana ay marinig na ito no, magkaroon na ng pagdinig sa mababang kapulungan, lalong-lalo na sa Committee on Legislative Franchise. Now, be that as it may, no, dahil nga wala na tayong asahan na isang provisional franchise para makabalik na sana ng kagyat sa area ng ABS-CBN, ang aking panawagan, no, ang ating panawagan na at ito na rin ay inihayag kanina sa plenaryo ng ating kagalang-galang na speaker na madaliin na talaga ang pagdinig ng mga renewal bills sa ABS-CBN at kailangang bigyan natin ito ng sapat na panahon para hindi malagay sa alanganin ang lahat. No? Let not this continuing uncertainties, Mr. Speaker, serve like a sword of Damocles, not only hanging over ABS-CBN, but as well to its employees and to the viewing public in general. Kailangang patunayan ng Kongresong ito to the public na tayo ang merong primary jurisdiction para resolbahin ang isyong ito. We have to be reminded, Mr. Speaker, that Congress' own inaction has vast implications and consequences that may prejudice our electorate and worse, even defeat our own powers and prerogatives in the future. No? So, again, Mr. Speaker, bilang panghuli, we must act urgently on this matter in the same manner that we have to act also urgently on the other pressing matters related to the crisis brought about by COVID-19 pandemic. We will all do this, Mr. Speaker, in the service of the Filipino people. Maraming salamat po, Ginoong Speaker, at magandang gabi po sa ating lahat.
Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, I move that we refer the manifestation of the Honorable Carlos Zarate to the Committee on Rules for its appropriate action. So move, Mr. Speaker.
Referred to Committee on Rules. Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, for the last manifestation for today, I move that we recognize our Minority Leader, Representative Benny Abante from Manila.
The Great Minority Leader from Manila, Honorable Benny Abante is recognized.
Salamat po, Mr. Speaker. Pero nga po tayong kasabihan ng mga Batanggenyo na huli man daw at magaling, ay huli pa rin. Anyway, my colleagues, Mr. Speaker, I admire the honesty and decorum of our Speaker in his speech a while ago. While he was the one who sponsored House Bill 6732. Yet, he began to realize, Mr. Speaker, that he must give way to the rule of the majority. Maganda na po sana ang House Bill 6732. Natuwa ako noong ating Speaker mismo nag-sponsor noong Miyerkules. Nakakatuwa na wala pong anumang oposisyon. Nakakatuwa na kinonvene po natin ang buong Senado, ang buong Kongreso bilang isang Committee of the Whole. Nakakatuwa na ito po ay inaprubahan ng lahat ng mga congressman. Gayon din ang committee report. Gayon din po ang pagpasa sa first reading. Gayon din po ang second reading. Hanggang kahapon, Mr. Speaker, ay marami na po ang nagsalita. Sa aking pananaw, para bang nawala yung tibo sa aking dibdib habang ang issue ng ABS-CBN is hanging on the balance. Pero naintindihan ko ang ating speaker. Inunawa ko ang nais niyang sabihin. Sapagkat hindi lang pala tibo ang siyang nasa atin ngayon, kundi isang malaking sugat na hindi lang po kinakailangan sa emergency. Dapat na ito'y gamutin. Kinakailangan na po itong ilagay sa operating table. Kaya nga po, nung nalaman po namin na ito po ilalagay sa ating Committee on the Legislative Franchise, although this is the proper process, yet nagkaroon din po ako ng kaunting agam-agam at kaunting kalungkutan. Bakit po? Sapagkat sana ay na-resolve na natin at least ng 6 na buwan ang problema ng franchise ng ABS-CBN. At pagkatapos niyan ay ilalagay na natin ang ilang mga bills na final ng ating mga congressman, about 15 of them, upang ito'y bigyan na ng 25-year franchise. At pag-usapan na po ito ng magandang pag-uusap. I-scrutinize na po natin ito. At talagang mahilom na at gumaling na ang mga sugat ng mga nakaraang taon. Subalit, I still would like to accept and believe not only in the wisdom of the Speaker, but in the wisdom of the majority of congressmen that would like this measure to go back and be reverted to the Committee on Legislative Franchise. Mr. Speaker, naalala ko po itong nakalagay sa aklat ng Philippians, chapter 3. Gusto kong basahin ang verse number 8. Ito po ang sinasabi, finally, my brothers, my brethren, whatsoever things are true, whatsoever things are honest, whatsoever things are right, whatsoever things are pure, whatsoever things are lovely, whatsoever things are admirable, if there is any virtue, and if there is any praise, think on these things. I would like to believe, Mr. Speaker, that this is the kind of character that the House of the people have. Binanggit po ni Speaker na hindi po moro-moro ang ginawa natin, na hindi tayo mag-aaksaya ng panahon, na mayroong mas mahalagang bagay na dapat natin pag-usapan, katulad ng economic stimulus plan na siyang principal authored by Joey Salceda and Stella Kimbo and Sharon Garin. Yung pong tinatawag nating ibang mga plano at mga bills na nakasalang upang ma-resolve na po natin ang issue ng COVID-19. Naniniwala po ako, Mr. Speaker, na talagang dapat nating unahin ito. Dapat po nating unahin ito. Subalit, naniniwala din po ako na para mawala na po ang tinatawag nating sword that is hanging over our heads, I hope that as soon as possible, the Committee on Franchise would immediately call for hearings. Kahit na po ito ay gawin natin ng mga ilang araw sa 1 linggo at lahat ng mga kasama natin dito at mga kapatid ay makapagsalita at sabihin nila ang dapat nilang sabihin. And once and for all, Mr. Speaker, my dear colleagues, let us resolve this issue that sometimes divide our nation and divide our people. Maraming salamat po, Mr. Speaker, for the opportunity.
Maraming salamat, Minority Leader. Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, I move that we refer the manifestation of the Honorable Minority Leader Benny Abante, Representative Benny Abante, to the Committee on Rules for its appropriate action. So,
Referred to
Mr.
Committee on Rules.
Mr. Speaker, I move to suspend the session until tomorrow, Wednesday, 20th of May, at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. So move, Mr. Speaker.
Session suspended until 20th of May 2020 at 3 o'clock in the afternoon.
belated picture. Belated picture.
Pare,
Halata naman.
Oo, wala naman ko sa rules. Layo na. Wala na ko sa rules. Rom.
One way to find out.
Yes, sir.
Tama ka pa.
Yan ang sa speaker.
Wimps. So, we'll dispense with roll.
Session is called to order. Please rise for invocation to be led by Representative Ria Cristina Farinas, 1st District, Ilocos Norte.
Let us all bow our heads in the presence of the Lord. Lord, bring a spirit of unity to our Congress, but only with compromises that promote your good and not damaging agendas. Let wisdom and integrity reign in our lives. Keep our goals simple, birthing ideas or laws that will keep our country safe, protect the weak, heal the broken, and encourage every person to his full potential. Protect us and our families. Remind us of our accountability not only to the ones we serve, but always to you. May your word become the truth and guide for all decisions. Thank you for giving us strong leaders in the House who will stay the course and work tirelessly to foster peace, fairness, and justice for all. Lastly, we pray for the province of Batanes, Lord. Mend broken lives caused by the heart-rending earthquakes and pour mercy and grace into their hearts. May their spirits never falter as they work in rebuilding their community. In Jesus' name, amen.
Please remain standing for the singing of the national anthem. Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, I move to defer the calling of the roll. So moved, Mr. Speaker.
The Chair, is there any objection? The Chair is none. The motion is approved.
Mr. Speaker, I also move for the deferment of the approval of the journal. So moved, Mr. Speaker.
Is there any objection? The Chair is none. The motion is approved. Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, I move that we hold the reference of business.
Is there any objection? The Chair is none. The motion is...
With that,
Okay.
would the Secretary General be directed to read the title of bills and resolutions on first reading, Mr. Speaker.
Is there any objection? The Chair is none. The motion is approved. The Secretary General is directed to read titles of the bills.
Reference of business bills on first reading. House Bill number 1976, unifying all existing agricultural credit programs for the farmers, fisher folks, and SMEs engaged in agricultural fisheries. Representative Abellanosa.
To the Committee on Government Enterprises and Privatization and Committee on Agriculture and Food.
House Bill number 1977, enhancing the performance of public school teachers and higher educational teaching personnel. Representative Bordado.
To the Committee on Basic Education and Culture and Higher and Technical Education.
House Bill number 1978, prohibiting the establishment of political dynasties. Representative Bordado.
To the Committee on Suffrage and Electoral Reforms.
House Bill numbers 1979, 1980, 1983, 1985, 2116, 2146 to 2151, 2156 to 2161, 2229 to 2230, and 2256 to 2261, establishing, separating certain national high school annexes in the provinces of Lanao del Norte, Surigao del Norte, Cagayan Negros Occidental, and Metro Manila from its mother or administrative school and converting them into independent national high school. Representative Xiao, Calixto, Matugas, Alvarez Senaro, Dimaporo Abdullah, Dimaporo Khalid, and Vargas Alfonso.
To the Committee on Basic Education and Culture.
House Bill number 1981, converting Iligan City National High School of Fisheries into Iligan City Polytechnical State College. Representative Xiao.
To the Committee on Higher and Technical Education.
House Bill number 1982, transferring the PNP the operational supervision and control over police units assigned or stationed in LGUs. Representative Xiao.
To the Committee on Public Order and Safety.
House Bill number 1986, providing the establishment of a district hospital
Boss,
in
ma'am.
Iligan City as Iligan City District Hospital.
To the Committee on Health.
House Bill number 1887, promoting responsible driving and establish fair accountability for road safety incidents and violation of traffic laws and regulations. Representative Xiao.
To the Committee on Transportation.
House Bill number 1988, creating the Iligan City Water, Falls, and River Development Authority. Representative Xiao.
To the Committee on Government Enterprises and Privatization.
House Bill number 1989 and 2284, declaring Iligan City and Lanao del Norte Province as a tourism development area. Representative Xiao, de Maporo Khalid, de Maporo Abdullah.
To the Committee on Tourism.
House Bill number 1990, requiring operators of amusement and theme parks and adventure or extreme sports facilities to institutionalize safety measures and secure comprehensive general liability insurance coverage for their clients. Representative Xiao.
To the Committee on Games and Amusements.
House Bill number 1991, authorizing the COMELEC to provide field offices for the provincial election supervisor and election registrar. Representative Xiao.
To the Committee on Suffrage and Electoral Reforms.
House Bill numbers 1992 and 2226, upgrading the minimum salary grade level of teachers. Representative Xiao and Crisologo.
To the Committee on Appropriations.
House Bill number 1993, mandating swimming as a subject in the K-12 basic education curriculum and an integral part of overall strategy to reduce the incident of death from drowning. Representative Xiao.
To the Committee on Basic Education and Culture.
House Bill number 1994, creating a separate district engineering office in Iligan City. Representative Xiao.
To the Committee on Public Works and Highways.
House Bill number 1995, imposing stiffer penalties for overloading passengers in PUVs. Representative Xiao.
To the Committee on Transportation.
House Bill number 1996, upgrading the Siargao District Hospital in Dapa, Surigao del Norte, and increasing its bed capacity from 50 to 100 to be known as the Siargao Island Medical Center. Representative Matugas.
To the Committee on Health.
House Bill number 1997, providing for the Magna Carta of Young Farmers. Representative De Venecia.
To the Committee on Agriculture and Food.
House Bill number 1998 and 2015, providing for the development and promotion of film and television tourism through an annual film quota and other support measures. Representative De Venecia and Vargas.
To the Committee on Public Information.
House Bill number 1999, amending RA number 8370. Representative De Venecia.
To the Committee on Public Information.
House Bill 2000, declaring certain portions of the Welfareville property in Mandaluyong City open for disposition to bona fide residents without public bidding. Representative Gonzales Neptali.
To the Committee on Housing and Urban Development.
House Bill number 2001 and 2133, creating Department of Disaster Preparedness, Emergency Management distinct and separate from the Department of National Defense. Representative Vargas and Castelo.
To the Committee on Government Reorganization and Committee on Disaster Management.
House Bill number 2002, instituting the Philippine Labor Force Competencies Competitiveness Program and establishment free access to technical and vocational training programs. Representative Vargas.
To the Committee on Higher and Technical Education, Committee on Labor and Employment.
House Bill number 2003 and 2036, encouraging volunteerism during emergencies by protecting volunteers from liability. Representative Vargas and C. Alvarado.
To the Committee on People's Participation.
House Bill number 2004, authorizing the DOH to set and provide the bed capacity of its retained hospitals. Representative Vargas.
To the Committee on Health.
House Bill number 2005, 2122, 2243, and 2423, creating additional branches of the RTC in Metro Manila and in the provinces of Laguna, Davao del Norte, and Zamboanga del Norte, and additional branches of the MTC in Metro Manila and the province of Lanao del Norte. Representative Vargas, Chipeco, Duhali, and Labad-Laban.
To the Committee on Justice.
House Bill number 2006, providing a system of extending non-collateral low-interest loans to graduates of any course offered by the TESDA or duly accredited learning institution. Representative Vargas.
To the Committee on Higher and Technical Education.
House Bill number 2007, establishing a breastfeeding center in every barangay throughout the country. Representative Vargas.
To the Committee on Health.
House Bill number 2008, institutionalizing sports varsity teams in elementary and secondary schools. Representative Vargas.
To the Committee on Basic Education and Culture.
House Bill number 2009, requiring the provision of infant-friendly facilities in government agencies and major establishments in the Philippines. Representative Vargas.
To the Committee on Welfare of Children.
House Bill number 2010, integrating palliative and hospice care into the Philippine healthcare system. Representative Vargas.
To the Committee on Health.
House Bill number 2011, improving the quality of regulation and reduce regulatory burden through the creation of the Government Efficiency Office. Representative Vargas.
To the Committee on Trade and Industry.
House Bill number 2012, promoting rural health by providing for an accelerated program for the construction of potable water supply system in every barangay in the country within 3 years. Representative Vargas.
To the Committee on Health.
House Bill number 2013, mandating the DOH to establish a research center on obesity prevention. Representative Vargas.
To the Committee on Health.
House Bill number 2014 and 2094, establishing job placement offices in the public schools to provide career services to the youth. Representative Vargas and Hernandez.
To the Committee on Labor and Employment.
House Bill number 2016 and 2098, granting educational assistance and benefits to the dependents of all members of the AFP, PNP, BFP, BJMP, NBI, PIDEA, PCG, and Bucor who are killed or permanently incapacitated while in the performance of their duty or by reason of their office or position. Representative Vargas and C. Alvarado.
To the Committee on National Defense and Security and Committee on Public Order and Safety.
House Bill number 2017, mandating the provision of exclusive parking space for PWDs and penalizing the unauthorized use thereof. Representative Vargas.
To the Committee on Social Services.
House Bill number 2018, establishing a cinematheque in every region of the Philippines. Representative Vargas.
To the Committee on Public Information.
House Bill number 2019, providing protection.
Committee on Appropriations.
House Bill number 2023, synchronizing the opening of all classes in all schools in the Philippines. Representative Vargas.
To the Committee on Local Government and Culture and Committee on Higher and Technical Education.
House Bill number 2024, granting employees 3 days paid leave to attend school-related activities of their children. Representative Vargas.
To the Committee on Labor and Employment and the Committee on Civil Service and Professional Regulation.
House Bill number 2025 and 2040, providing a Magna Carta for workers, enterprises, and organizations in the informal economy and institutionalizing mechanisms for recognition, integration, and transition to the formal economy. Representative Hernandez and Fortun.
To the Committee on Labor and Employment.
House Bill number 2026 and 2092, imposing the death penalty on certain heinous crimes. Representative Barbers and Abu.
To the Committee on Justice.
House Bill number 2027, increasing the minimum salaries of public school teachers and other government employees and augmenting the personal economic relief allowance. Representative Herrera D.
To the Committee on Appropriations.
House Bill number 2028, upgrading the salary grade of public school teachers and non-teaching personnel from salary grade 11 to salary grade 18, from salary grade 1 to salary grade 9. Representative Herrera D.
To the Committee on Appropriations.
House Bill number 2029, institutionalizing the salary step increment for teachers with specialization in science and or mathematics. Representative C. Alvarado.
To the Committee on Appropriations.
House Bill number 2030, encouraging youth sector participation in the agricultural sector, establishing the Ang Lingkod Kabataan sa Agrikultura Trust Fund. Representative C. Alvarado.
to the Committee on Agriculture and Food,
House Bill number 2031 and 2186, providing for a system of redistributing and recycling food waste to promote food security. Representative C. Alvarado and Legarda.
to the Special Committee on Food and Security,
House Bill number 2032, granting free parking privilege to all senior citizens and PWDs. Representative C. Alvarado.
to the Special Committee on Senior Citizens,
House Bill number 2033, increasing the minimum age of kasambahays. Representative C. Alvarado.
to the Committee on Labor and Employment,
House Bill number 2034, authorizing the Secretary of Health to award grants for training and support services for Alzheimer patients and their families. Representative C. Alvarado.
to the Committee on Health,
House Bill number 2035, increasing the salary of head teacher in proportion to their function and in relation to the pay scale of teachers provided by law. Representative C. Alvarado.
to the Committee on Appropriations,
House Bill number 2037, requiring government agencies to indicate the blood type of individuals in the identification cards, certificates, and licenses. Representative C. Alvarado.
to the Committee on Health,
House Bill number 2038, providing a Magna Carta for the beneficiaries of housing programs of the government. Representative C. Alvarado.
to the Committee on Housing and Urban Development,
House Bill number 2039 and 2185, providing for the integration and mainstreaming of cultural education programs and activities in the country's national education program. Representative C. Alvarado and Legarda.
to the Committee on Basic Education and Culture,
House Bill number 2040, establishing the regulatory framework for the safe operation of the LPG industry. Representative Albano.
to the Committee on Energy and the Committee on Trade and Industry,
House Bill number 2041, institutionalizing the grant of teaching supplies allowance for public school teachers. Representative Vargas.
to the Committee on Basic Education and Culture,
House Bill 2042, providing for the revitalization and advancement of original Filipino music. Representative Vargas.
to the Committee on Basic Education and Culture,
House Bill number 2043, preventing drug overdose-related deaths. Representative Vargas.
to the Committee on Health,
House Bill number 2044, providing the local movie and film industry corporate tax breaks and exempting venue operators from the payment of amusement tax when showing locally produced films and music events featuring Filipino artists. Representative Vargas.
to the Committee on Public Information,
House Bill number 2045, providing for a revised national intern apprenticeship program, clarifying the standards for training and engagement of apprentices and accreditation apprentices program by Representative Vargas.
to the Committee on Labor and Employment,
House Bill number 2046, mandating dangerous drugs courts to strictly enforce the provisions of RA 9165, streamlining the 5 pillars of the criminal justice system by Representative Castelo.
to the Committee on Dangerous Drugs,
House Bill number 2047 and 2239, mandating providing the protection of whistleblowers, ensuring their safety and welfare by Representatives Castelo and Fortun.
to the Committee on Justice,
House Bill number 2048, requiring operators of public utility buses in Metro Manila to install CCTV cameras in their buses and providing penalties for violation thereof by Representative Castelo.
to the Committee on Transportation,
House Bill number 2049, institutionalizing a system of effective fund administration of cash donations or humanitarian aid from local foreign donors and sponsors during natural or man-made disasters, crises, tragedies, or emergencies by Representative Castelo.
to the Committee on Disaster Management,
House Bill number 2050, granting 15% fare discount to every bona fide students on transportation fares charged by land transport system by Representative Castelo.
to the Committee on Transportation,
House Bill number 2051, directing DepEd to institutionalize Students' Grievance Act mechanism to caution of arbitrarily adverse and disciplinary cases by Representative Castelo.
to the Committee on Basic Education and Culture,
House Bill number 2052, creating the Occupational Safety and Health Administration under the Department of Labor and Employment by Representative Castelo.
to the Committee on Labor and Employment,
House Bill number 2053, authorizing PNP to adopt a strategic policy against criminals riding in tandem on motorcycles by Representative Castelo.
to the Committee on Public Order and Safety,
House Bill number 2054, granting scholarships to children of persons with disabilities by Representative Castelo.
to the Committee on Higher and Technical Education,
House Bill number 2055, requiring grand malls in the metropolis to provide free internet access or service to shoppers and customers throughout the time of their business hours by Representative Castelo.
to the Committee on Trade and Industry,
House Bill number 2056, promoting agritourism in the Philippines by Representative Espino.
the Committee on Agriculture and Food,
House Bill number 2057, renaming Clark International Airport in Angeles City, Pampanga as Diosdado Macapagal International Airport by Representative Gonzales Aurelio.
to the Committee on Transportation,
House Bill number 2058, institutionalizing the income classification of provinces, cities, and municipalities by Representative Villa.
to the Committee on Local Government,
House Bill number 2059, declaring September 17 of every year a special non-working holiday in the Siquijor province in commemoration of its founding anniversary, to be known as Adlaw sa Siquijor by Representative Villa.
to the Committee on Local Government,
House Bill numbers 2060, 2175, 2276, and 2386, postponing the May 2020 Barangay and Sangguniang Kabataan elections by Representatives Villa, Villanosa, Gonzales Aurelio, and Drobes.
to the Committee on Suffrage and Electoral Reforms,
House Bill numbers 2061 to 2064, 2115, 2152, 2154, 2231 to 2237, and 2375, providing for the construction of certain roads in cities, municipalities in Metro Manila and the provinces of Bohol, Lanao del Norte, Surigao del Norte, and Bulacan to national roads and highways by Representative Gatchalian, Aumentado, Dimapuro Abdullah, Dimapuro Khalid, Matugas, and Robes.
to the Committee on Public Works and Highways,
House Bill number 2065, establishing the Visayas and Mindanao Hospital facilities of the Philippine Children's Medical Center by Representative Gatchalian.
to the Committee on Health,
House Bill number 2066, providing for the Magna Carta of the out-of-school youth by Representative Gatchalian.
to the Committee on Youth and Sports Development,
House Bill number 2067, 2207, 2216, 2317, 2319, 2368, 2409, 2412, and 2425, creating, establishing the Department of Overseas Filipino Workers, Overseas Filipinos by Representatives Salceda, Tichay, Romero, Gonzales Carlo, Yap Eric, Tulfo, Taduran, De Loso Montalia, Hernandez, Castelo, and Vargas.
to the Committee on Government Reorganization and Committee on Overseas Workers Affairs,
House Bill number 2068, requiring land, air, and sea transport providers to provide priority seating for the elderly by Representative Vargas.
to the Special Committee on Senior Citizens,
House Bill number 2069, making Bible reading mandatory in all public elementary and secondary schools by Representative Abante.
to the Committee on Basic Education and Culture,
House Bill number 2070, exempting church ministers, priests, rabbis, and imams from securing government license to solemnize marriage by Representative Abante.
to the Committee on Revision of Laws,
House Bill number 2071, exempting Bibles and other religious articles and certificates from taxes and other charges, exempting charges from tax exemption certificates in availing tax exemptions by Representative Abante.
to the Committee on Waste and Means,
House Bill number 2072, establishing the Philippine Ear, Nose, and Throat Center by Representative C. Alvarado.
to the Committee on Health,
House Bill number 2073, protecting seafarers who suffer serious injury or death and their families by Representative C. Alvarado.
To the Committee on Overseas Workers Affairs.
House Bill number 2074, prohibiting overloading of passengers in PUVs by Representative C. Alvarado.
To the Committee on Transportation.
House Bill number 2075, recruiting, hiring, and training additional school-based guidance counselors, psychologists, school social workers, and mental health personnel by Representative C. Alvarado.
To the Committee on Basic Education and Culture.
House Bill 2076, amending RA 7719, providing for an adequate supply of safe blood, regulating blood banks by Representative C. Alvarado.
To the Committee on Health.
House Bill number 2077, establishing a national center for information and technical assistance relating to all types of family resource and support programs by Representative C. Alvarado.
To the Committee on Population and Family Relations.
House Bill number 2078, mandating the LGUs to institutionalize rewards for compliance with Section 32 of Republic Act number 9003 by Representative C. Alvarado.
To the Committee on Ecology.
Mr. Speaker,
Majority Leader.
I move that we suspend the reference of business and proceed with the roll call for today. So move, Mr. Speaker.
Is there any objection? The chair is none. The motion is approved. Majority Leader.
Roll call of members. Honorable Representatives Abante, Baya, Bellanosa, Abueg Zaldivar, Abunda, Acop, Acosta, Acosta Alba, Adyong, Advincula, Agabas, Agaraw, Aglipay, Aguinaldo, Albano Antonio, Albano Rodolfo, Almario, Alonte, Alvarez Franz, Alvarez Genaro, Alvarez Pantaleon, Amante Matba, Amatong, Andaya, Angara, Aragones, Arbison, Arenas, Arroyo, Atienza, Mentado, Babasa, Pagatsing, Balindong, Barba, Barbers, Ronda, Berzaga, Bascug, Bautista Claudine, Bautista Bendigan, Belmonte, Benitez, Bernos, Yason, Billones, Piron, Bolilla, Bondoc, Bordado, Bravo, Rosas, Bulot, Bustos, Kabatbat, Cabochan, Cabredo, Cagas, Calderon, Calixto, Caminero, Campos, Canama, Cawagdan, Cari, Castelo, Castro Franz, Castro Fredinil, Cayetano Alan Peter Compañero, Cayetano Maria Laarni, Celeste, Chato, Chepeco, Chugalao, Co Angelina, Co Elizalde, Juanco Collantes, Risologo, Cua, Cuaresma, Cueva, Kulamat, Dagook, Dalipe, Dalog, Daza, De Jesus, De Venecia, Defensor Lawrence, Defensor Michael, Del Mar, De Los Santos, De Los Montalia, De Maporo Abdullah, De Maporo Muhammad Khalid, Duavit, Duhali, Duterte, Di Faustino, Ino, Di Faustino Michael, Di Ian Paul, Ebcas, Ecleo, Elago, Enverga, Erice, Ergel, Ermita Buhain, Escudero, Espina, Espino, Estrella, Farinas Ria, Farinas Ruda Cesar, Fernandez, Fernando, Fer Juliet, Fer Luis, Flores, Fong Juan, Fortun, Fortuno, Frasco, Fuentebella, Gaite, Garbin, Garcia Jose Enrique, Garcia Pablo John, Garcia Vincent, Garin Janet, Garin Sharon, Gasataya, Gatchelian, Gato, Ron, Go Ed Christopher, Go Mark, Gonzaga, Gonzales Aurelio Dong, Gonzales Neptali, Gonzales Carlo Elisandro, Groseta, Guico, Gullias, Guya, Haresco, Hataman, Hernandez, Herrera D, Hofer, Halushos, Javier, Jimenez, Ko Elisa, Ko Wilton, Kong Hun, Labad-Labad, Lacson, Lacson Noel, Lagman, Lagon, Lara, Lasatin, Liachon, Legarda, Lim, Lim Kay Chong, Lopez Jose Antonio, Lopez Manuel Luis, Loyola, Macapagal Arroyo, Maceda, Madrona, Malapitan, Mangawang, Magundadato, Marcoleta, Mariano Hernandez, Mariño, Marquez, Martinez, Matba, Matugas, Mendoza, Momo, Natividad Naganyo, Nava, Nieto, Noel, Nograles Jericho, Nograles Juan Felipe, Nolasco, Nunez Malanyaon, Ominal, Olivares, Ong Jose, Ong Ronnie, Ortega, Juan Dizon, Pacquiao Alberto, Pacquiao Rogelio, Padiernos, Paduano, Palma, Pancho, Panotes, Peña, Pichay, Pimentel, Pineda, Plaza, Puno, Kimbo, Radaza, Ramirez Sato, Ramos, Rebulla, Revilla, Reyes, Rivera, Robes, Rodriguez, Roman, Romero, Romualdez Ferdinand, Romualdez Yeda Marie, Romualdo, Romulo, Roque, Sakdalan, Sagarbaria, Salceda, Salimbangon, Salo, Sanchez, Sancopan, Santos Recto, Sarmento, Saulug, Sevillano, Xiao, Silverio, Singson, Singson Mihan, Sinsuat, Swansing Estrelita, Swansing Horacio, Suarez Aleta, Suarez David, Suntay, Si Alvarado, Taduran, Lyado, Tambunting, Tan Alisa, Tan Angelina, Tan Shamir, Tan Shari, Tan Tambut, Tejada, Teves Arnulfo, Teves Jose, Tiangco, Tolentino, Torres Gomez, Tulfo, Tupas, Vitor, T, Umali Alfonso, Umali Maria Victoria, Unabia, Ungab, Uy Juliet, Uy Rolando, Valeriano, Valmayor, Vargas, Vargas Alfonso, Velasco, Veloso, Vergara, Villa, Villafuerte, Villanueva, Brother Eddie, Villanueva Noel, Villar, Villarasa Suarez, Villarica, Yolago, Yap Eric, Yap Victor, Yu, Zamora Ronaldo, Zamora Waikorat, Zarate, Zubiri. Speakers present. Mr. Speaker, the roll call shows that 251 members responded to the call.
With 251 members responding to the call, the chair declares the presence of a quorum. Majority Leader.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, with us today are some guests of our dear representatives. I would like to acknowledge the guests of Honorable Hector Sanchez of the Lone District of Catanduanes, Mr. Sun Peng, Mr. Andy Lu from Beijing, China, Mr. Hua Xiong, and Mr. Lau Kok Hui of Singapore Management Consultancy, Mr. Rafael Javier Yubra, Mr. Alvin Kor, Mr. Thomas Chong, Mr. William Chea, and Fatima Punungbayan, Cynthia Briones, Cecilia Chang, Danilo Fajardo, Nora Lising, Antonio Isidro, Carmelita de Guzman, Edna Diaz, Natalia Guevara, Juanito Cabiao, Consorgia Gregorio, Dulce Camaya, Ana Dominique Quizon, Giselle Sancha de la Cruz, Herald Marson Tolentino, Donabella Bautista, Engineer Angelina Alcaraz.
Guests of Representative Kuya Jonathan Alvarado of the 1st District of Bulacan, welcome to the House of Representatives. Majority Leader.
Also, Mr. Speaker, we have with us the guests of Honorable Arlene Brosas of the party list Gabriela. They are Gabriela Women's Party, Marikina Chapter, Gabriela Women's Party, Barangay Batasan Chapter, Gabriela Women's Party, Barangay Payatas Chapter, Gabriela Women's Party, Barangay Holy Spirit Chapter, Gabriela Women's Party, Tondo Chapter, Gabriela Women's Party, Navotas Chapter.
Guests of Representative Arlene Brosas of Gabriela Party, welcome to the House of Representatives. Majority Leader?
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Also with us are more guests. Guests of Honorable Jericho Jonas Nograles of PBA Party List. I would like them to be acknowledged: Jeremy Randall Go, Raymond Retaga, Valiant Pera, Jeric Galiza, Robert Jan Marie Faundo, Chris Vincent Dalatan, Con Kenneth Alhard, Jenson Ray Cantos, Pruvin Bermudez, Kenneth De Vega, Rocky Antonares, Johnny Galabin, Crismon Aquino, Julius Cesar Fabian, Vinny Dale, Begaso, Irene Lay Tinsay.
Guests of Representative Jericho Jonas Oconograles of PBA Party List, welcome to the House of Representatives. Majority Leader?
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. We also have with us guests of Tindog Siniriangan Party List, Honorable Yeda Marie Romualdez. They are the guests from the Department of Agriculture, Region 8, Director Milo de los Reyes, Director Juan Albeladejo, Engineer Fernando Conde, Ms. Arsenia Canilas, Mr. Rodel Macapanyas.
Guests of Representative Yeda Marie Romualdez of Tindog Siniraya Party List, welcome to the House of Representatives.
And last but not the least, Mr. Speaker, guests of Honorable Gabriel Bordado from the 3rd District of Camarines Sur. They are barangay officials from Barangay La Purisima, Pile, Camarines Sur. Sandy Bicaldo, Punong Barangay. Leo Llanosa, Barangay Kagawad. Rodel Tuason, Barangay Kagawad. Hilda Ayen, Barangay Kagawad. Armand Masaga, Barangay Kagawad. Evelyn Nupia, Barangay Kagawad. Marilu Bergatin, Barangay Kagawad. Sofronio Valiente, Barangay Kagawad. Jonas De La Rama, SK Chairman. Rosie Camano, Barangay Treasurer. Ryan Ledesma, Barangay Secretary. Also with them, Huna Masaga, Gina Gastardo, and Alvin Soreta, Mr. Speaker.
Guests of Representative Gabriel Bordado from the 3rd District, Camarines Sur, welcome to the House of Representatives. Majority Leader?
Mr. Speaker, I would like to continue with the business of referring the bills and resolutions for first reading.
Any objection? The chair is none.
So moved, Mr. Speaker.
The motion is approved. The Secretary General is hereby directed to read the title of House Bills Resolutions for proper referral to committees.
Reference of business, bills on first reading. House Bill number 2079, institutionalizing the participation of the youth in anti-drug abuse council in all levels. Representative C. Alvarado.
To the Committee on Youth and Sports Development.
House Bill number 2080, establishing a universal newborn hearing screening program for the prevention of early diagnosis and prevention from hearing loss among children. Representative C. Alvarado.
To the Committee on Health.
House Bill number 2081, providing for the Magna Carta of Barangay Health Workers. Representative C. Alvarado.
To the Committee on Local Government.
House Bill number 2082, amending certain provisions of RA 9372. Representative Nograles
The Committee
Jericho.
on Public Order and Safety and the Committee of National Defense and Security.
House Bill number 2083, increasing the excise tax on alcohol products heated tobacco products, and vapor products, Representative Kua.
To the Committee on Ways and Means.
House Bill number 2084, amending section 4, 5, 20, 22, 25, 27, 28, 34, 40, 50, 73, 112, 117, 119, 203, 222, 237, 237-8, 255, 256, 257, 258, 260, 261, 262, 263, 264, 265, 266, 275, 282, and 290, and adding sections 6A and new title 13 under the National Internal Revenue Code of 1997. Representative
The Committee
Kua.
on Ways and Means.
House Bill number 2085 and 2400, institutionalizing reforms in real property valuation and assessment in the Philippines, reorganization, the Bureau of Local Government and Finance, Representative Kua, Swansing Estrella, Swansing Horacio.
To the Committee on Government Reorganization.
House Bill number 2086 and 2399, amending section 22, 24, 25, 27, 28, 29, 30, 32, 34, 37, 38, 39, 42, 51, 52, 54, 55, 56, 57, 73, 208, 221, 222, 223, 274, 276, 279, 281, 282, 183, 184, 185, 186, 187, 188, 189, and 199, repealing sections 127, 175, 177, 178, 180, 192, and 193, all under RA 8424 as amended. Representative Kua, Swansing Estrella, Swansing
To the
Horacio.
Committee on Ways and Means.
House Bill number 2087, amending RA number 7077, mandating the institutionalization, development, training, organization, and administration of ROTC in grades 11 and 12 in all public and private institutions. Representative Abu.
The Committee on Basic Education and Culture.
House Bill number 2088, providing support for surviving spouse and children of slain judges, justices, and other judiciary officials. Representative
The
Abu.
Committee on Justice.
House Bill number 2089 and 2177, increasing granting the honorarium of and Christmas bonus of barangay officials, tanods, and granting a lump sum gratuity pay and other non-monetary benefits. Representative Abu and
The
Castello.
Committee on Local Government.
House Bill number 2090, imposing stiffer penalties on the offense of stealing or vandalizing government road signs and other warning devices, accessories, and facilities. Representative
The
Abu.
Committee on Revision of Laws.
House Bill number 2091 and 2394, regulating the sale of motor vehicles in highly urbanized cities and requiring a proof of parking space or facility from motor vehicle buyers as a prerequisite for the purchase of a motor vehicle and registration with the LTO. Representative Abu and
The
Veloso.
Committee on Transportation.
House Bill number 2093, institutionalizing the Citizen Service Training Course, establishing the Citizen Service Corps. Representative Hernandez.
To the Committee on Higher and Technical Education.
House Bill number 2095, 2096, 2098, 2292, 2294, 2371, 2372, and 2373, declaring ecotourism zones, ecotourism destinations in the provinces of Pangasinan, Lanao del Norte, and Zambales. Representative Espino, De Maporo Abdullah, De Maporo Khalid, and De Losa
The
Montalya.
Committee on Tourism.
House Bill number 2097, 2105, 2293, 2295, 2420, and 2421, declaring tourist spots destination in the provinces of Pangasinan, Bohol, Lanao del Norte, and Palawan. Representative Espino, Mentado, De Maporo Khalid,
The
Abueg,
Committee on
Zaldivar.
Tourism.
House Bill number 2099, strengthening the ERC, expanding, streamlining its bureaucracy, upgrading employee skills, augmenting benefits. Representative
The
Veloso.
Committee on Energy.
House Bill 2100, withholding operational funds of units of the AFP implicated in gross human rights violation. Representative Castro Franz, Zarate, Gaite, Culyamat, and Brosas.
The Committee on National Defense and Security.
House Bill number 2101, amending Section 8 of RA number 6426. Representative Castro Franz, Zarate, Gaite, Culyamat, and Brosas.
To the Committee on Banks and Financial Intermediaries.
House Bill number 2102, prohibiting the hiring of teachers in public sectors through contracts of service or job orders. Representative Castro Franz, Zarate, Gaite, Culyamat, and
The
Brosas.
Committee on Basic Education and Culture.
House Bill number 2103, declaring February 20 of every year as Barangay Health Workers Day. Representative
The Committee on
Malapit.
Local Government.
House Bill number 2104, establishing the Polytechnic University of the Philippines, Caloocan City North Campus. Representative
The Committee on
Malapit.
Higher and Technical Education.
House Bill number 2106, converting the LTO satellite office in the 2nd District of the province of Bohol into a regular LTO district office. Representative
To the
Mentado.
Committee on Transportation.
House Bill number 2107, declaring February 26 of the year as Philippine-Israel Friendship Day. Representative
To the
Aumentado.
Committee on Foreign Affairs.
House Bill number 2108, strengthening the National Research Council of the Philippines of the DOST for the promotion, research, work along scientific lines. Representative Aumentado.
To the Committee on Science and Technology.
House Bill number 2109 and 2110, providing for the construction of bridges connecting the islands of Bohol and Leyte and the provinces of Bohol and Cebu. Representative
To the
Aumentado.
Committee on Public Works and Highways.
House Bill number 2111, declaring Chocolate Hills as a national patrimony, natural heritage park, and geological monuments, penalizing their pilferage, destruction, and defacement. Representative Aumentado.
To the Committee on Basic Education and Culture.
House Bill number 2112, providing for the Ubay Airport development to accommodate commercial domestic aviation training flights. Representative
To the Committee on
Aumentado.
Transportation.
House Bill number 2113, establishing Central Visayas Coconut Seed Production Center in Ubay, Bohol. Representative
To the Committee
Aumentado.
on Agriculture and Food.
House Bill number 2114, providing 7-year tax-free incentive for plantation in private and public grants. Representative Aumentado.
To the Committee on Ways and Means.
House Bill number 2117, mandating the inclusion of visits and historical and cultural heritage site as part of on-campus activities in public and private school. Representative Garcia
To the
Jose
Committee on
Enriquez.
Basic Education and Culture.
House Bill number 2119, penalizing all forms of media identity theft, any person creating, pretending, and stealing identity of another person. Representative Romero.
To the Committee on Justice.
House Bill number 2119, promoting the use of urban farming in the metropolitan regions to address food security concerns. Representative Romero.
The Special Committee on Food Security.
House Bill number 2120, mandating the chronic dialysis patients, chronic kidney disease to be given the same privileges as a PWD. Representative
To the
Romero.
Committee on Health.
House Bill number 2121, promoting entrepreneurship by strengthening the finance programs of micro, small, and medium enterprises. Representative Romero and Pineda.
To the Committee on Micro, Small, and Medium Enterprise Development.
House Bill number 2123, regulating the practice of employers in posting notices of termination of employment, of regulating the imposition of fees for the use of parking spaces and or facilities within shopping malls, schools, hospitals, hotels, and similar establishments. Representative
To the Committee
Marcoleta.
on Trade and Industry.
House Bill number 2126, integrating, establishing pertinent policies and regulations to ensure the sustainability of the Philippine tourism industry. Representative Torres
To the Committee on
Gomez.
Tourism.
House Bill number 2127, amending 9593, known as the Tourism Act of 2009. Representative Torres
To the Committee on
Gomez.
Tourism.
House Bill number 2128, creating the Tourism Resilience Certification Program under the administration of the Tourism Infrastructure and Enterprise Zone Authority. Representative
To the
Torres
Committee on
Gomez.
Tourism.
House Bill number 2129, making mandatory the numbering of dwelling units and other buildings in the country. Representative Torres.
To the Committee on Housing and Urban Development.
House Bill number 2130, improving the incentives of tourism enterprising zones and removing the restrictions in the incentive schemes. Representative Torres Gomez.
To the Committee on Tourism.
House Bill number 2131, providing the protection of rights of airline passengers. Representative Castelo.
To the Committee on Transportation.
House Bill number 2132, granting specific emergency powers to the President of the Republic of the Philippines to address the Metro Manila gridlock. Representative
To
Castelo.
the Committee on Transportation.
House Bill number 2134, mandating that at least 10% of the government-owned lands to be sold, alienated, or otherwise encumbered for the development purposes be segregated for socialized housing projects. Representative
To the
Castelo.
Committee on Basic Education and Culture.
House Bill number 2135, institutionalizing earthquake drills in all workplaces and schools, thereby making them an annual observation. Representative
To the
Castelo.
Committee on Health.
House Bill number 2136, establishing special education centers for children with special needs in every LGUs. Representative Castelo.
To the Committee on Basic Education and Culture.
House Bill number 2137, autarizing the grant of incentive and retirement pay of all civilian government employees. Representative
To the
Castelo.
Committee on Appropriations.
House Bill number 2138, mandating the LGUs to establishing rewards for work through pathways to housing schemes, encouraging to adopt an initiative to their corporate social responsibility. Representative Castelo.
To the Committee on Housing and Urban Development.
House Bill number 2139, establishing medical scholarship and return service program for deserving students. Representative Tan
To the
Angelina.
Committee on Higher and Technical Education.
House Bill number 2140 and 2277, providing for stricter regulations in the packaging, use, sale, distribution, and advertisements, promotions of tobacco products, electric cigarettes. Tan Angelina, Garcia Jose Enrique.
To the Committee on Health and the Committee on Trade and Industry.
House Bill number 2141, enhancing the effectiveness of Metropolitan Manila Council in formulating policies, rules, regulations, and enacting ordinances for Metro Manila. Representative Fernando.
To the Committee on Metro Manila Development.
House Bill number 2142, granting Philippine citizens to Mr. Justin Donna Brawley. Representative Romero and
To the
Pineda.
Committee on Justice.
House Bill number 2143, penalizing all forms of fake, false news. Representative Romero.
To the Committee on Public Information.
House Bill number 2144, strengthening the Commission on Human Rights. Representative
To
Fortun.
the Committee on Human Rights.
House Bill number 2145, ordaining the promotion of social enterprises to alleviate poverty. Representative Fortun.
To the Committee on Poverty Alleviation.
House Bill number 2153, establishing Philippine High School for the Arts, Lanao del Norte. Representative Demaporo Abdullah, Demaporo Khalid.
To the Committee on Basic Education and Culture.
House Bill number 2155, creating Katapangan Valley Development Authority. Representative Demaporo Abdullah, Demaporo Khalid.
To the Committee on Government Enterprises and Privatization.
House Bill number 2162, establishing a crab hatchery in Mindanao State University, Maawan, Misamis Oriental. Representative Demaporo Abdullah, Demaporo Khalid.
To the Committee on Aquaculture and Fisheries Resources.
House Bill number 2163, establishing the Philippine High School for the Arts System, Demaporo Abdullah, Demaporo Khalid.
To the Committee on Basic Education and Culture.
House Bill number 2164, mandating observance of 23 November of every year as a National Consciousness Day. Representative Kulamat, Zaite, Gaite.
To the Committee on Human Rights.
House Bill number 2165, mandating the observance of 29 November every year as Women Human Rights Defenders Day. Representative Kulyamat, Zarate, Gaite.
To the Committee on Human Rights.
House Bill number 2166, designating the month of November as Buy Pinoy, Build Pinoy month to encourage the purchase and utilization of Filipino products, labor, and services. Representative Zarate, Gaite, and Kulyamat.
To the Committee on Trade and Industry.
House Bill number 2167, declaring May 17 of every year as National Day against homophobia, biphobia, transphobia, and other phobias on persons with diverse sexual orientation and gender identity expression. Representative Zarate, Gaite, and
To the Committee
Kulyama.
on Women and Gender Equality.
House Bill number 2168, recognizing the observance of July 25 of every year as National Campus Freedom Day. Representative Zarate, Gaite, and
To the
Kulyama.
Committee on Higher and Technical Education.
House Bill number 2169, declaring July 7 of every day a special working holiday to commemorate the founding of the Katipunan. Representative Zarate, Gaite, and
To the Committee
Kulyama.
on Basic Education and Culture.
House Bill number 2170, declaring May 22 of every year as Freedom of Expression Day in commemoration of National Artist for Film, Lino Broca. Representative Zarate, Gaite, and Kulyama.
To the Committee on Basic Education and Culture.
House Bill number 2171, declaring Andres Bonifacio as National Hero. Representative Zarate, Gaite, and
To the
Kulyama.
Committee on Basic Education and Culture.
House Bill number 2172, rationalizing economic regulation and water utilities, creating the Water Regulatory Commission. Representative Herrera D.
To the Committee on Government Organization and the Committee on Public Works and Highways.
House Bill number 2173, institutionalizing the Magna Carta of Daycare Workers. Representative Herrera D.
To the Committee on Welfare of Children.
House Bill number 2174, promoting positive and nonviolent discipline, protecting children from physical, humiliating, or degrading acts as form of punishment. Representative Zarate.
To the Committee on Welfare
Herrera
of
D.
Children.
House Bill number 2176, amending R 87160, thereby increasing the term of office of barangay officials by another 2 years. Representative Castel.
To the Committee on Local Government.
House Bill number 2178, mandating the increase of allowance of all barangay lupon, BSDO, and barangay staff who have served for 1 term. Representative
To the
Castel.
Committee on Local Government.
House Bill number 2179, creating the Philippine Rice Exploration and Development Authority by Representative Vargas.
To the Committee on Government Enterprises and Privatization.
House Bill number 2180, incorporating scam prevention education in the senior high school curricula by Representative
To the
Vargas.
Committee on Basic Education and Culture.
House Bill number 2181, enhancing the sports curriculum of the General B to Villamino National High School by Representative Reyes.
To the Committee on Basic Education and Culture.
House Bill number 2182, creating the Department of Technical Education Training and Certification by Representative
To the
Ligarda.
Committee on Government Organization and the Committee on Higher and Technical Education.
House Bill number 2183, providing for urban and countryside greening through mandatory tree planting and adoption of a forest sanctuary by public school under the DepEd by Representative
To
Ligarda.
the Special Committee on Reforestation.
House Bill number 2184, promoting a low-carbon economy, establishing for this purpose the emission cap and trade system in the industry sector by Representative Ligarda.
To the Special Committee on Climate Change.
House Bill number 2187, granting survivorship benefits to the independent children of the deceased retired member of the COA, CSC, COMELEC, and the Ombudsman or the surviving parents or nominated person of such deceased retiree by Representative
To the
Ligarda.
Committee on Government Enterprises and Privatization.
House Bill number 2188, implementing a pre-use policy for ancillary service in malls, shopping centers, and similar establishment by Representative
To the Committee on Trade
Castelo.
and Industry.
House Bill number 2189, mandating all food establishment and other similar business to donate to charitable institution any at all unsold food by Representative Castelo.
To the Special Committee on Food Security.
House Bill number 2190, mandating the NHA to undertake the acquisition, reconstitution, and recovery of real properties referred to under Republic Act number 9207 in certain barangays in Quezon City by Representative
To the
Castelo.
Committee on Housing and Urban Development.
House Bill number 2181, establishing libraries in all youth detention facilities in the Philippines by Representative Castelo.
To the Committee on Basic Education and Culture.
House Bill number 2192, expanding the Philippine Disaster Risk Reduction and Management System, thereby institutionalizing a comprehensive recovery and reconstruction plan through a wholesale approach with pillbox through a cost DOST as lead agency by Representative Castelo.
To the Committee on Disaster Management.
Mr. Speaker, I move that we
Majority Leader.
suspend the reference of business and give way to acknowledge guests of our colleagues in the House of Representatives.
Any objection? The chair is none. The motion is approved. Majority Leader.
Guests of Honorable Congressman Enrico Pineda of One Pacman Party List, world-renowned, multi-awarded composer and singer, board member, Mr. Lito Camo.
Guest of Representative Enrico Pineda of One Pacman Party List, welcome to the House of Representatives.
Furthermore, Mr. Speaker, guests of our Speaker, Alan Peter Cayetano, members of the League of Political Officers of the Philippines, Cyril Aborde, President, Rico Sancap, EVP, Carlos Maceda, SecGen, Romy Morelos, Treasurer, Bay Sandra Jaire, VP for Mindanao, Mayor Ferwin Mabulo, Bernard Reyes, Cliff Richard Rico, Arnel Pimentel, Nino Mercado, Renz Marcelo, Rolly Guillam, John Manongsong, Donita Tapay, Randy Vega, Amrodin Atar, Sorgel Aborde, Anselmo Boy Diwa, Ronnie Orilosa, Edwin Murcia, John Marchan, Liz Charan. Mr. Speaker.
Guest of Honorable Speaker Alan Peter Cayetano of the Republic of the Philippines, welcome to the House of Representatives. Majority Leader.
And last but not the least, Mr. Presiding Officer, guests of our dear Deputy Speaker from the province of Batangas, Barangay Captain Junar Cabrera, Barangay Kalumpang East, San Luis, Batangas, Barangay Captain Lovet Lacanlalay, Barangay Tejero, San Luis, Batangas, and Barangay Captain Alfred Garcia, Barangay San Antonio, San Luis, Batangas.
Sa mga panauhin po ng inyong lingkod na kinatawan mula sa ikalawang distrito na lalawigan ng Batangas, mabuhay po kayo. Welcome sa House of Representatives. Majority Leader.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I move that we resume with the reference of business for today.
Any objection? The chair is none. The motion is approved. The Secretary General is hereby directed to read the title of the bills, resolutions, and other communications for referral on first reading.
Bills on first reading. House Bill number 2193, abolishing the boundary system in the bus and jeepney operation, regulating into 8 hours after their operation per driver by Representative Castelo.
To the Committee on Labor and Employment.
House Bill number 2194, including acts committed on account of road rage in the aggravating circumstances by Representative
To
Castelo.
the Committee on Revision of Laws.
House Bill number 2195, establishing a pilot program to provide job and vocational skills training to youth who have been adjudicated juvenile delinquents or juvenile offenders by Representative Castelo.
To the Committee on Youth and Sports Development.
House Bill number 2196, directing the Philippine Sports Commission to establish a program to support research and training in the use of performance-enhancing drugs by athletes by Representative C.
The
Alvarado.
Committee on Youth and Sports Development.
House Bill number 2197, mandating higher education institution and technical vocational institutions for the safety and security of the academic community from internal and external threats by Representative C. Alvarado.
The Committee on Higher and Technical Education.
House Bill number 2199, penalizing the act of money laundering with interest by salary disbursing officers in public or private entities by Representative C.
The
Alvarado.
Committee on Civil Service and Professional Regulation and the Committee on Labor and Employment.
House Bill number 2200, requiring all national, regional, and provincial government hospitals to establish, operate, and maintain a dialysis treatment to indigent patients by Representative C.
The
Alvarado.
Committee on Health.
House Bill number 2201, creating the Bulacan State University System by Representative C.
The
Alvarado.
Committee on Higher and Technical Education.
House Bill number 2202, declaring the conferment of doctorate degree as equivalent to entry-level career executive service officer in the civil service, Representative C. Alvarado.
The Committee on Civil Service and Professional Regulation.
House Bill number 2203, providing the spread of online viral challenge that is detrimental to the moral, mental, and physical development of children. Representative C. Alvarado.
Committee on Welfare of Children.
House Bill number 2204, compiling the traffic rules and regulations of the Philippines into an official rules of the road handbook. Representative C.
The
Alvarado.
Committee on Transportation.
House Bill number 2205, requiring all operators, franchise holders, and service providers of mass transport passenger trains and light rail services to acquire comprehensive third-party liability insurance coverage for the welfare of the riding public. Representative C.
The
Alvarado.
Committee on Transportation.
House Bill number 2206, providing for a comprehensive civil registration system in the Philippines. Representative Aragones.
The Committee on Population and Family Relations.
House Bill number 2208, mandating the creation of Population Development Office in all provinces, cities, and municipalities. Representative
The Committee on
Aragones.
Government Organization and the Committee on Overseas Workers Affairs.
House Bill number 2209, designating and recognizing Liliu, Laguna as the Chinelas capital of the Philippines. Representative Aragones.
The Committee on Tourism.
House Bill number 2210, granting universal social pension to senior citizens. Representative Aragones.
The Special Committee on Senior Citizens.
House Bill number 2211, prohibiting discrimination on the basis of sexual orientation or gender identity expression. Representative Aragones.
The Committee on Women and Gender Equality.
House Bill number 2212, protecting senior citizens from violence. Representative
The
Aragones.
Committee on Women and Gender Equality.
House Bill number 2213, providing for the standard of the practice rehabilitation medicine. Representative Hernandez.
The Committee on Civil Service and Professional Regulation.
House Bill number 2214, mandating all commercial, business establishments, hospitals, government vehicle, buildings, and other similar establishments to provide free parking spaces for bicycles. Representative Reyes.
The Committee on Trade and Industry.
House Bill number 2215, providing for socialized microfinancing program for micro-enterprises. Representative Romero.
The Committee on Micro, Small, and Medium Enterprise Development.
House Bill number 2217 and 2273, establishing the Philippine Transportation Safety Board. Representative Barba and Guico.
The Committee on Government Organization and the Committee on Transportation.
House Bill number 2218, declaring September 11 of every year a special non-working holiday in Ilocos Norte to be known as President Ferdinand Edrelin Marcos Day. Representative
The
Barba.
Committee on Local Government.
House Bill number 2219, allowing and regulating the use of motorcycle as PUVs. Representative
The
Barba.
Committee on Transportation.
House Bill number 2220, establishing the Special Economic Zone and Freeport in Ilocos Norte, creating for the purpose the Ilocos Norte Special Economic Zone and Freeport Authority. Representative Barba.
Economic Affairs and the Committee on Trade and Industry.
House Bill number 2221, declaring April 27 of every year as regular holiday throughout the country to commemorate the victory of Lapu-Lapu and his men in the historic Battle of Mactan. Representative Radaza.
Committee on Local Government.
House Bill number 2222, renaming the Mactan Cebu International Airport to the Lapu-Lapu International Airport. Representative Radaza.
The Committee on Transportation.
House Bill number 2223, rectifying the dishonorable use of a great Filipino name, Lapu-Lapu, to a fish species, Philectropus leopardus. Representative Radaza.
The Committee on Basic Education and Culture.
House Bill number 2224, instituting PWD's friendly and safe transportation program in the country. Representative Arroyo.
The Committee on Social Services.
House Bill number 2225, renaming Quezon City General Hospital to Quezon City General Hospital and Medical Center, Representative Crisologo.
To the Committee on Health.
House Bill number 2227, renewing the franchise granted to Crusaders Broadcasting System, Representative Crisologo.
To the Committee on Legislative Franchises.
House Bill number 2228, 2288, 2306, 2377, 2406, providing for the establishment of a Manpower Livelihood and Skills Development Center, TESDA Training and Accreditation Centers in certain municipalities, cities in the provinces of Surigao del Norte, Lanao del Norte, Metro Manila, Bulacan, and Nueva Ecija. Representative Matugas, de Maporo Khalid, de Maporo Abdullah, Castelo, Robes, Swansing, Estrelita.
To the Committee on Higher and Technical Education.
House Bill number 2238, providing for the benefits and privilege of pregnant women and their family. Representative Fortune.
To the Committee on Women and Gender Equality.
House Bill number 2241, establishing Philippine Science High School in Daraga, Albay. Representative
To the
Salceda.
Committee on Science and Technology.
House Bill number 2242, repealing the minimum height requirement for applicants to the PNP, BFP, and the BJMP. Representative Garcia Pablo John.
To the Committee on Public Order and Safety.
House Bill number 2244, modernizing the facilities, equipment, and manpower complement of the Bicol Medical Center in Naga City, Camarines Sur. Representative
To
Villafuerte.
the Committee on Health.
House Bill number 2245, establishing the policies for the formulation of the National Transportation Strategy for the Philippines to 2050. Representative
To the
Villafuerte.
Committee on Transportation.
House Bill number 2246, establishing a Philippine Self-Reliance Defense Posture Program. Representative Cabo
Committee on
Chan.
National Defense and Security.
House Bill number 2247, strengthening the Internal Affairs Service of the PNP. Representative Cabo
To the
Chan.
Committee on Public Order and Safety.
House Bill number 2248, granting hazard pay to eligible PIDEA personnel. Representative Cabo
To
Chan.
the Committee on Dangerous Drugs.
House Bill number 2249, strengthening the institutional capacity of the Office of the Ombudsman by amending certain provisions of RA 6770. Representative Cabo Chan.
Committee on Justice.
House Bill number 2250, increasing the special group term insurance coverage of members of the AFP, including members of the PNP. Representative Cabo
The
Chan.
Committee on National Defense and Security and the Committee on Public Order and Safety.
House Bill number 2251, strengthening the employment rights of members of the Armed Forces for the Reserve Force of the AFP. Representative Cabo
The
Chan.
Committee on National Defense and Security.
House Bill number 2252, providing for exemption from income tax to public school teachers, health workers, police, and military uniform personnel. Representative Cabo
The
Chan.
Committee on Ways and Means.
House Bill number 2253, institutionalizing preschool education, increasing the monthly compensation of daycare workers. Representative Cabo Chan.
The Committee on Basic Education and Culture.
House Bill number 2254, providing for Rural Employment Assistance Program. Representative Cabo
The Committee
Chan.
on Rural Development.
House Bill number 2255, establishing a Fisheries Research Center in Abulog in the 2nd District of Cagayan. Representative Vargas
The Committee on
Alfonso.
Culture and Fisheries Resources.
House Bill number 2262, providing for the regime of complete separation of property as the governing regime in the absence of marriage settlement or when a regime agreed upon is void. Representative Alvarez
The Committee on
Pantaleon.
Revision of Laws.
House Bill number 2263, institutioning absolute divorce and the dissolution of marriage in the Philippines. Representative Alvarez
The
Pantaleon.
Committee on Population and Family Relations.
House Bill number 2264, recognizing the civil partnership of couples. Representative Alvarez Pantaleon.
The Committee on Women and Gender Equality.
House Bill number 2265, providing for the conduct of hybrid national, local, and armed elections. Representative Alvarez
The
Pantaleon.
Committee on Suffrage and Electoral Reforms.
House Bill number 2266, defining electronic violence against women and their children. Representative Fortune.
To the Committee on Women and Gender Equality.
House Bill number 2267, declaring the Mount Mayapay in Butuan City and the Buena Vista, Agusan del Norte as protective area. Representative
The
Fortune.
Committee on Natural Resources.
House Bill number 2268, preventing and controlling pollution from ships. Representative Fortune.
To the Committee on Ecology.
House Bill number 2269, rationalizing the land area requirement for the creation of a province. Representative
The
Matugas.
Committee on Local Government.
House Bill number 2270, establishing the tourism carrying capacity standards in the country. Representative Chutor.
To the Committee on Tourism.
House Bill number 2271, strengthening the local development councils by threefolding its representation. Representative
To
Chupor.
the Committee on Local Government.
House Bill number 2272, creating the Department of Water, Irrigation, Sewerage, and Sanitation Resource Management. Representative Salo.
The Committee on Government Reorganization and the Committee on Public Works and Highways.
House Bill number 2274, amending RA number 10121 by transferring the power to declare a state of calamity in the LGU to the local chief executive. Representative Garcia Pablo
Committee
Jang.
on Local Government.
House Bill number 2275, amending RA 7166 to make election expense limitations more reasonable by Representative Garcia
The Committee on
Pablo
Suffrage
Chan.
and Electoral Reforms.
House Bill number 2278, prohibiting and penalizing the dissemination of false or manipulated information by Representative Garcia Jose Enrique.
To the Committee on Public Information.
House Bill number 2279, establishing a comprehensive Philippine environmental assessment system by Representative Acosta
The
Alba.
Committee on Natural Resources.
House Bill number 2280, providing for a Magna Carta of Agricultural Development Workers by Representative Acosta Alba.
To the Committee on Agriculture and Food.
House Bill number 2281, recognizing, protecting, and strengthening the indigenous peoples and local communities, conserved areas and territories by Representative Acosta Alba.
To the Committee on Indigenous Cultural Communities and
House Bill number
Indigenous Peoples.
2282, recognizing and strengthening alternative care of children by Representative Acosta
The Committee
Alba.
on Welfare of Children.
House Bill number 2283, granting the Lanao del Norte Electric Cooperative a franchise to construct, operate, and maintain a distribution system by Representative Dimaporo Khalid and Dimaporo
The Committee on
Abdullah.
Legislative Franchises.
House Bill 2285, promoting cultural sensitivity to Filipino Muslims, especially for the treatment of Muslim women by Representatives Dimaporo Khalid and Dimaporo Abdullah.
The Committee on Muslim Affairs.
House Bill number 2286, transferring the seats of two branches of the RTC in the Lanao del Norte province at the Tubod and creating two additional branches of the RTC and Lanao del Norte by Representative Dimaporo Khalid and Dimaporo Abdullah.
To the Committee on Justice.
House Bill number 2287, reconstituting the Lanao del Norte Engineering District offices into two regular district engineering offices by Representatives Dimaporo Khalid and Dimaporo Abdullah.
The Committee on Public Works and Highways.
House Bill number 2289, converting the Lanao del Norte Provincial Hospital into a regional medical center by Representative
The
Dimaporo.
Committee on Health.
House Bill number 2290, authorizing the Director of the Land Management Bureau to subdivide the lands with the military reservation in Marawi City, which are no longer needed for military purposes by the Representative Dimaporo.
The Committee on National Defense Security.
House Bill number 2291, requiring supermarkets, meat shops, and public and private markets with significant Muslim population to segregate non-pork meat products from pork products and its derivatives by Representative
The
Dimaporo
Committee on
Khalid.
Muslim Affairs.
House Bill number 2296, declaring the Mindanao Civic Center and Tubod Lanao del Norte Province as a sports tourism destination by Representative Dimaporo
The Committee on
Khalid.
Tourism.
House Bill number 2297, providing for a national policy in preventing teenage pregnancies, institutionalizing social protection for teenage parents by Representative
The Committee on
Lacman.
Population and Family Relations.
House Bill number 2298, expanding the membership and benefits of the Government Service Insurance System to cover barangay official by Representative D. Faustino Ino.
The Committee on Government Enterprises and Privatization.
House Bill number 2299, strictly implementing a set of simple rules to properly pass a cyclist consistent with a shared road campaign by Representative
The
Castelo.
Committee on Transportation.
House Bill number 2300, creating the Office for Information and Regulatory Affairs as interagency structure to undertake regulatory review and take charge of regulatory affairs by Representative Castelo.
The Committee on Micro, Small, and Medium Enterprise Development.
House Bill number 2301, constituting the COA, Office of the Ombudsman and Committee on Oversight of Congress into a tripartite body as the Legislative Audit Council to perform tasks to effectively run after corrupt officials and private individuals by Representative
To
Castelo.
the Committee on Public Accounts.
House Bill number 2302, establishing an alternative online learning system for high school and first 2 years of college by Representative
To the Committee on Basic Education and Culture and the Committee on Higher and Technical Education.
House Bill number 2303, prescribing motor vehicle safety standards, requiring rear underride prevention guard for large vehicles by
To
Representative
the Committee on
Castelo.
Transportation.
House Bill number 2304, requiring license and clearance from RPRC for the practice of optometry and operation of optical shops to be enforced by the LGU concerned by Representative
To the Committee on
Castelo.
Civil Service and Professional Regulation.
House Bill number 2305, criminalizing reckless driving by Representative
The Committee on
Castelo.
Revision of Laws.
House Bill number 2307, establishing a Science and Technology Training Center in Quezon City by
The
Representative
Committee on Science and Technology.
House Bill number 2308, exempting from terminal fees all public and private school teachers by Representative
The Committee on
Castelo.
Transportation.
House Bill number 2309, creating malasakit centers to complement the implementation of RA number 11223 by requiring PhilHealth to establish, operate, and maintain malasakit centers in the country by Representative.
The Committee on Health.
House Bill number 2310, creating the National Center Control Committee, institutionalizing the Philippine Cancer Prevention and Control Program by Representative Gatchalian.
The Committee on Health.
House Bill number 2311, prohibiting all public telecommunication entities and information and communication technology providers from imposing an expiration period on the validity of prepaid load credits by Representative
The Committee on
Gatchalian.
Information and Communications Technology.
House Bill numbers 2312 and 2411, eradicating mobile phone-aided terrorism criminal activities requiring the registration, recording of the identity of all buyers of prepaid subscribed identity module cards for cellular unit by Representatives Gatchalian and
The
Castelo.
Committee on Information and Communications Technology.
House Bill number 2313, establishing a business permit and licensing office in every city or municipality in the country by Representative
The Committee on Local
Gatchalian.
Government.
House Bill number 2314, establishing the Santos Incarnation Elementary School as a separate and independent elementary school by Representative
The Committee on
Gatchalian.
Basic Education and Culture.
House Bill number 2315, amended Republic Act 7170 by Representative Gatchalian.
The Committee on Health.
House Bill number 2316, prohibiting the use of the words Muslim and Christian in mass media to describe any person suspected of or convicted for having committed criminal or unlawful acts by Representative.
The Committee on Muslim Affairs.
House Bill number 2318, instituting the Magna Carta of Filipino Seafarers by Representative
The Committee on
Gonzales.
Overseas Workers Affairs.
House Bill number 2320, creating the National Field Archive to be managed by Field Development Council by Representative.
The Committee on Public Information.
House Bill 2321, expanding the coverage of R8 10627, Representative Torres.
The Committee on Revision of Laws.
House Bill number 2322, amending Republic Act number 10871 by Representative
The Committee on
Torres.
Basic Education and Culture.
House Bill number 2323 and 2367, institution and national land use and management policy by Representative Torres Gomez and Deloso
The
Montalia.
Special Committee on Land Use.
House Bill number 2324, renewing the franchise granted to Bicol Broadcasting System Incorporated for another 25 years.
The Committee on Legislative Franchises.
House Bill number 2325, amending sections 5 and 6 of RA 5487 as amended by Representative
The
Escudero.
Committee on Public Order and Safety.
House Bill number 2326, regulating the practice of plumbing engineering in the Philippines by
To the Committee on
Representative
Civil
Escudero.
Service and Professional Regulation.
House Bill number 2327, amending sections 2 and 5 of Republic Act number 9227 by Representative. House Bill number 2328, providing a civil action for a minor injured by exposure to an entertainment product containing material harmful to minors by Representative
The Committee on
Escudero.
Welfare of Children.
House Bill number 2329, penalizing the imposition of a no permit, no exam policy or any policy that prohibits students in all educational institutions from taking their examination due to unpaid tuition and other school fees by Representative
The
Escudero.
Committee on Higher and Technical Education.
House Bill number 2330, establishing the Forensic Science Institute in the University of the Philippines system by
The
Representative
Committee on Higher
Escudero.
and Technical Education.
House Bill number 2331, defining the crime of stalking and providing penalties for the same by Representative
The Committee on
Escudero.
Justice.
House Bill number 2332, authorizing the punong barangay in the city or municipal mayor to remove illegal